the smell is something else. It is so good. Nothing like real rich. Oh, dude, is it good? Do they actually smell good? Man, I want that.
I think we're live, boys.
Right now?
We're
I'm
live.
telling everybody. I'm literally telling people to go there right now.
All right, which one's my headphone deal here? I'm gonna turn that down just a touch. What's up, Wes? How we sounding there, Crane? It's all good. All right. What's that? Yeah, there's a delay for sure. Are you tweeting?
I'm telling people to go there right now and watch what they're watching, so the people that are already watching don't need to be told to
watch. That's the beauty of a podcast, Weege, is that there's really no one expects formality.
No.
We're just sitting here. We're just doing our thing.
Well, also, I don't think people expect visuals also of the podcast, so we're really overshooting the mark.
We're just stepping it up,
It's
man.
a podcast with video.
Can I have my Red Bull, please? That was that. Oh, thanks. Yeah, where's Kenny at?
And if I could get one too.
Oh, God. Red Bull's on tap right now.
Well, I'm a can guy, so I'm supposed to have a can in my hand at all times.
All right, so we're live. Weege, should we do I know it's a podcast, but should we do an introduction?
Yes, absolutely.
So, Chad Reed, here we go. I'm geeking right now. All right, guys, so my name is Jase Macalpine.
I'm Ricky Johnson.
Joined by Ricky Johnson and the voice. I like to call him the voice.
Voice of a lot of different things, including this now.
Yeah, Jason Weigandt.
Yeah.
And this is basically what we wanted to do was create the most epic bench racing session that we could. So we literally have a bench.
Oh, fair point.
We have some straight rhythm action, racing-ish.
Yeah.
And it's called the Racer X pre-show, live from Straight Rhythm. And I like to think of the whole pre-show, pre-game. We're at a bar.
Yeah, I know. Let's use it.
So I feel like we've really tied this in pretty well. We've timed it. We've gone live as practice is starting. Going to start over here, Ricky. How do you feel about this weekend?
Well, I'll be honest with you. When I first heard about this, I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. I was not a fan. I go, this is going to be dumb. It's going to be stupid. And then
The
when I
show or the race?
Well, no, the race.
Okay,
The
all
show,
right.
The show is awesome.
Okay.
So I'm all about that.
All right.
But when I first heard about the race, I wasn't a fan because I thought it's just going to be kind of boring. Guys going down a straight rhythm and stuff like that. It's going to... It's gonna just be too redundant.
Yeah.
But then the generator cut out. No. But then when we got here, it brought back exactly what I love about racing, and it's the intensity. And it was so from the starting line to the finish line, it's the first and last lap put all together. So all the nerves of the start and all the intensity of the last lap, and guys are side by side, and they also can't interfere with each other. They can't, They just have to go as fast as they can go. So it's just pure 100% racing, and it's over and over and over. And there is some strength and endurance to it because you're doing intervals time after time after time. And that's what it is. It's intense. And so we didn't really see any runaways. A runaway is what, 3 bike lengths?
Yeah. So much you can do.
Yeah, there's only so much that a guy can do. But no, so after I saw it, I became a huge fan.
Can we welcome Ken Roxon?
All right.
The great man.
How are you guys?
The German Eagle himself.
Thanks for having me out.
I'll give you credit for attendance, man. They put you in a lot of different places so far today, and you've made every single one, and I know what you really probably want to do is just watch.
Whatever it takes.
I like it.
You know what he's really here for. The draw is there's a golf course that's quite nice that's just across the street. So they're like, hey, Ken, can you come and do some work this week for us? And he's like, yeah, let me just check where it's at on Google Maps. Golf course, boom.
Well, you showed me your hand as the combo of scabs from riding or blisters from riding and then also golf club next to it.
Yep. They're a little dark from the rubber. I mean, golf will get you once you start, man. I'm telling you.
How's the game, mate? Let's not talk motocross just yet because the first thing everyone asks is injury. They ask all that BS.
Yeah.
Tell me about the golf game.
It's a bit rough, eh? I gotta break the hundredth. I quadruple putt. Like I'll get to the green for putting for a birdie. Not birdies all the time, obviously, but I'll be for par or something, and I'll quadruple putt. That's my game. That's where I'm at right now. It's sad.
It's rough. You need to start hanging out with Hammer.
I know. The only thing is we usually live on the opposite side of the country, so. That's
true. So tell me about Straight Rhythm. I feel like if there's a race that's built for Ken Roxon, it's probably Straight Rhythm. Because we saw you in the finals with James here a couple years ago, and then you had the cross jumping kind of thing where you sort of crossed the line, so you pulled yourself out. But how fun is this event as an athlete?
Oh, it's awesome. It's a very, very short yet high intensity race, and there's not a whole lot of room for error. It gets really difficult for a rider because you hit jump after jump after jump. Normally we hit a turn after about 3 jumps. Well, you don't, so you got to look well ahead, and they have to have the perfect in-between of trying to stay low, go fast, but as you do that with so many jumps in a row, you tend to, come up short a little bit, overshoot something. That can mess a lot of things up. So you have to be mentally really, really focused to not do that, and then, you can't, there's not a whole lot. The exciting thing for fans is that you don't ride or race and then you have freaking 20-second lead or something like that.
Yeah.
So every race is usually very, very close, unless somebody goes down, obviously, or makes a super big mistake. But other than that, if everybody's going pretty clean, you'll be in searching for tenths and hundredths of a second.
So Ken, with that coming down, so you do a run and you win, you progress to the next thing. Obviously, some is because you don't change your rhythm that much. It looks like you kind of get the jumps that you're doing. You watch it, it's broken down a little bit and this and that. Is it a lot more throttle, a lot more brake to try to figure out how to get everything going? So where typically, walk me through one of the scenarios where you had to make up time and go faster for the next heat.
You got to go fast, but don't rush, if that makes sense. You can, as soon as you get things dialed, you're always, every time you go out, you're going to try and go faster. Well, there's a limit at one point, and then, like I said, you're going to start to scrub harder and let the throttle on longer and brake later. Well, you're going to come up short on things, over jump things. That's where this comes into play. You got to be so precise and clean. Sometimes slower is faster, if that makes sense.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
So it's difficult. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot. You're going 30 seconds straight. It doesn't sound like a whole lot, but there's a lot to it.
Well, in a drag race, and a lot of people that don't know riding and stuff, give us a percentage of how much braking that you do, because there's a whole lot, because you're accelerating so hard to keep from over jumping. Give us a percentage of how much you're on the gas, how much you're flying, and how much you're braking.
Well, percentage, it's kind of hard to judge, but honestly, I would say, so let's put it this way. You'll start off, right? You usually have a couple of little jumps, depending on the course, but you'll usually hit 1, 2, you'll hit 3 jumps without a brake, and you usually have a little bit of a faster piece, and you're going to hammer into the brakes. Well, then, for example, if there's a wall, there's a lot of different theories how you can hit the wall. You can let the throttle on a lot longer than somebody else, brake a lot harder, but kind of bounce up on it, or you can have the perfect in between and roll a little bit and yet swallow the jump up a little bit more. So there's a lot of fine little things that nobody thinks of, or they see us going, jump, and they're like, it's just throttle, and you just sit down and do that. Well, there's shifting, there's braking, there's scrubbing, there's a lot of things that come with it.
Do you remember the section when you and James were, I think it was 15, and there was the section where it was like the jump for the Dragon's Back and then into a really big set of whoops. That perfect example of what you just said of like slower to go faster. You remember how James was jumping that whole section, but he had to check up before he did it. Like he slowed up to jump it. So that was a good section, of when like if you're a guy that can just, instead of just holding it on the whole time, if you can really think your way around a track, even though it's straight, you can actually really gain time. Like that's where he made all his time.
The reason for that is because you didn't have a whole lot of lip to go off of. So if you were to just go and kind of let the bike do its thing, well, you're not going to get that bounce. So usually if you check up a little bit, maybe use a little clutch and use a lot of body language on your legs to pull the bike up, almost bunny hop, if that makes sense. That's how you can think. And that's the fun thing about the straight rhythm. You can be creative. You'll jump a jump, whatever, and then that happened a couple of years ago where some riders don't even think of, or don't even think about it, but there's these little tiny details that will make a difference.
Since it was the first time you did it a couple years ago, and it was really still pretty new for everybody, were you learning as you went? I mean, this isn't something that anyone had grown up doing. So were you trying to learn it as you went also?
Totally. It depends from year to year, too, how they set up the track. I remember when I raced in 2015, the track was built very steep. There was no room for error whatsoever. You are going in a straight line, so you're going a lot faster than you think. Well, a lot of the downsides of the jump, also the takeoff at the downside, they ended up being so built and so steep that you have to, it was so easy to over jump or come up a little bit short. That was the problem back then. The first couple of jumps or 3 jumps, there were only straight doubles, which was fine. But once it started going into a rhythm section, there was actually a big quad that we did too. But you had to really go slower to go faster because you had to check up and you had to downside that triple or that quad because otherwise you would, try to rush it and then you'll kind of land in the bottom of the next rhythm. And that would throw you off, and sometimes you couldn't keep on tripling. Well, you'll double, and then you're out of rhythm. And if the guy does how your competitor does how it's supposed to do, he'll pass you right there. You don't have a whole lot of time there. It's almost impossible to come back.
Right. So while we've got 2-stroke practice, this is the Ken Roxon 2-stroke Invitational. How bad do you wish you were out here on that MC 1-800 Roxon bike? Tell me, how bad do you wish you were on that thing?
Oh, I mean, I think any rider knows what I'm talking about when I say it's torture being on the sidelines and watching, and especially when there's 2 strokes riding around. We don't get to ride 2 strokes a whole lot anymore, so used to 4 strokes. And I said it earlier, swinging a leg over a 2-stroke, and it's not as you have a power deficit, but it's the sound that just makes it.
What is it that makes it for you?
It's the sound. Like, I think it's the sound. Yeah, the sound. Bottom line, I think anybody would agree with me too because the bike's definitely not faster than a 4-stroke. It's lighter, so it usually handles pretty good, but we're so used to 4 strokes, it'll handle a lot different in between the rhythms and stuff. There's just a little bit of a delay, I believe, in the throttle. So I think it's a sound, for sure.
With this 2-stroke Invitational, I feel like the playing field gets leveled. So Sleater and Stank Dog technically probably have the advantage because they're on KTMs. I'm guessing they're both on 17s. So there's
Stank Dog races one.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah,
currently,
exactly.
Yes.
So we got Villo's on I don't know what year that thing is. That's probably like a 90-something. Chad's on an 04. I mean, this is a weird time because we're used to seeing Villo on the best stuff. We're used to seeing Chad on the best stuff. Stank Dog ain't going into many races with the technical advantage. So I mean, how big is that going to come into play just today?
I can tell even just right now for me watching earlier a little bit. Everybody's very happy right now. You can hear clutches out there. You can hear the bike ripping more than normal in my eyes.
More than needs to be.
More than it needs to be. I agree because it'll start kind of backfiring, you can hear it.
Hear the pop at the top.
It starts popping, and I can tell that there is a little bit more throttle than they need. I think a shift up wouldn't be a bad idea.
But again, it's just the sound because it feels so good. I rode Wes at his race at Chicani in Georgia. You wouldn't have been there for sure, but it was just sand. And I was on a YZ125. We say Z. YZ.
YZ. Okay.
I knew you were gonna pick that one up.
All right.
I was on the YZ125, and I felt so fast. I felt like Stuart 04 fast, and then Wes was on a 450, and he come past me so easy. But it's just like that sound. I didn't want to change gears. I just wanted to just keep it there.
It's hard to go fast on them. I mean, we're used to so much power. Once you don't have it, you can hold the thing wide open wherever you want, and you're not going anywhere because they have a pretty big power deficit, that's for sure.
All right, so they got some 2-strokes out there practicing right now, and then one silent bike.
Yeah, it was weird. First time I've heard one like that, and I'm like, I don't know. That definitely takes some getting used to.
Oh yeah, you were not here last year, so this is the first time you've really seen one of these things in
action. Person. Yeah,
really.
I was checking it out early. I'm like, man, this looks weird.
Dude, do you think there goes Ronnie?
Ronnie Mack's here.
Hell,
dude, I need to quit this. I gotta go out there.
He wants to go watch.
That's the first time I see him in person.
We got as soon as Red Bull kicks on their live feed,
we'll be able to watch it.
Yeah, we'll be able to see it on our TV. Is that Stank?
think so.
Stank dog.
Oh, he's
Man,
on a KTM.
I'm so excited for this two-stroke class. This is the reason to me that, I mean, me and Jeremy have had a ton of conversations in the past about the AMA needs to have, like, let's bridge the gap between the privateers and the factory dudes, and let's have a 250 two-stroke class. And then, you know, you don't see say a West Coast Lights guy going to dude, that's so crazy. Hill's just coming past.
Barely can hear it.
Hill's coming past on his...
You know what kind of blows me away? That the electric bike, you know, how is that? It doesn't, like, cut out or anything. Like, it would kind of freak me out a little bit for some reason. I don't know how that whole thing works.
Be worried that it would.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Man, your contract with Honda, you'll be riding you will race an electric bike before you retire. Mark my words.
You're stamping it right now?
I
don't know. There's no way.
You will 100% be racing an electric Honda. I'll bet $5 on it right now.
Okay.
All right. Hey, we are recording this. Remember where you heard it first.
We have an official bet that Ken will at some point be racing a factory electric Honda.
Here's the part that seems so weird, as he's confused even thinking of this prospect.
I can't wrap my head around it.
I'll ask you, RJ. The legend of motocross to jump jumps, you don't have a speedometer that you're looking at. You just go by what gear I'm in and how much throttle I'm giving it, and you're used to also having the clutch to further manipulate that. There are none of those things on that bike. It's amazing to me that he's that. No. So it's amazing to me that when Hill rides that thing, he's pretty much getting it right, and I don't know what he's doing to figure out how far to jump.
Well, it's actually a little more simple than you think. So you heard Kenny say how the bikes that he has now, fuel injection, that you don't have to use the clutch to rev it up to clear jump. You just twist the throttle and it goes. Well, with an electric motor, it's the same thing. There is no delay. There is no feeding gas into a combustion engine and all the different stuff. It just knows to go.
Yeah.
So the more you twist it, the more it goes. And so for you would get on it, and in 2 minutes, you would go. You would have the feeling, I know it goes here. I know I want this. I know I want that. It's more of a feel, but you're so used to having sound that helps. I'm gonna. When every motorcycle racer says you're gonna clear something, brat.
I know. Or that's third gear, half throttle. That's all gone.
Right. So it's infinite. It keeps going. You know, I've done some work with electric cars and things like that. And at first it freaks you out because you don't get the same. You don't get the sound sensation, but you get the G-force and the acceleration, all different stuff. And it would probably bother you to race it at first, but for riding, you would have a blast because it's all nice and quiet and
I'm sure it's more advanced. I have ridden one. It was more like a downhill bicycle that was electric.
Yeah.
And that was a few years ago, and it was either on or off. Right. I'm sure they have some kind of different setting that's a little bit more mellow on the bottom. It'd be interesting to know how that is. Like, is it super aggressive, and is it like a light switch?
It's both. You can dial it in. So we're talking about it because with the military's looking at them and has tested them, and my partner's ridden them. And so you can set it up to where it doesn't hit as hard. So if you want to hit, like, let's say a stock 250, you can be pretty aggressive with the gas. You can go from 0 to 40% pretty fast. Now, if you do that on your Works Honda, if you go from 0 to 40, the thing is going to launch out from underneath you like nobody's business. So you can adjust it by a switch, and that's what Josh says. I can just go up or down. And
it's just, at the end of the day, it's just like an electricity curve.
Exactly.
Really. Exactly. So you just kind of modulate that curve based on...
It was Stank Dog.
Stank Dog.
Yeah.
How many times do you think Josh Hill has reached for the clutch when he first went on that thing?
Dude,
I can't imagine.
Have you seen his Instagram videos of him going through LA River and all that? Do you follow him on Instagram?
I've seen some of it. Yeah.
He's a pretty good follow.
Yeah.
For that.
I'm sure
just
some
for that
cool
because they've been taking it out into they've mountain bike trails, which I'm not really condoning. But they've done some stuff in like LA River and just like urban shit, man. It's crazy that they've taken them to places they have. No one even knows they're there. So
I know
that's
a good part about it. Yeah.
But so my point with that is he's done a lot of riding on it, even not at a track or at a race. He's been riding a bunch. But I bet just the vibration, not having any feedback of the vibration would be super, super weird.
And
sound aside.
We're not going to know until somebody rides the thing. And
we're not going to know until you debut one in
2019. On this Honda electric bike. Okay.
Yeah.
And Jase is $5 richer.
Yeah, I want it bad.
I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. Let's put it that way. I don't gel with it yet. I can't even think about riding an electric bike yet.
Tesla, homie.
Tesla.
There he goes. Seen, not heard. That's the cool thing about this event, though. when they decided, if they want to race the Alta, they claim it's a 250 class bike, we'll let it race in the lights class. There were some people that were saying, no, you can't do that. We don't know if it's fair. We don't know how to decide what class is in. And the people that organized this event said, dude, this is not a points event. Who cares what's fair? Let's just do it and see what happens.
And we
don't have rules here like that.
Josh got, I'd say, from what it looked like for me, and I mean this is anecdotal based on 3 starts that he did. He was getting pulled out of the gate by the Troy Lee KTM. So I feel like the power's pretty much there, at least last year. I can't speak for this year's model, but last year I feel like it was at a slight disadvantage in terms of straight speed. But, I mean, that was 12 months ago. I don't know where it's at now. But so I feel like the 250 class is where that particular model needs to live, for sure.
That's what they say. But here we don't care. It's
I'm sure.
Exactly. No one cares here.
I'm sure the changes are done pretty quickly to it, too. You know how quick a mapping has changed on our bike? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they don't have to deal with different motor parts and things like that, I don't think so.
Not changing cams and that. But, as I said, my partner wrote it in a military aspect, and he said it's a step above a bone stock 250F.
Yeah, that's what Josh said. He said he felt it was better than a stock 250F. Maybe not quite where a full race bike would be. But again, in 12 months' time, when you're at the very beginning of the curve for this thing, they're going to make big advancements quick. Where I noticed last year, he actually beat Kyle Cunningham in the first round. Yeah. They had a wall jump and then headed into a set of whoops. And they're basically down to 0 miles an hour as they go over the top of that wall jump. And then you have to get on the gas, but still get traction. Yeah. And that's where he made his ground up over the 4-stroke. It got the acceleration, power to the ground. Seemed to be superior. Now, Cunningham wasn't necessarily on the full Troy Lee Works bike, but it was impressive what it did against his 250.
What's an electric bike, man? You're cruising out there, it's perfectly silent. So it really can't be much better. Thank God it didn't come out and destroy everybody.
Well, that would have been a problem.
What? Yeah. Ken Roxon would definitely be riding an electric bike if an electric bike came out and smoked everybody the first time out.
Well, that's the conundrum they're going to have to figure out.
Yeah.
Obviously, Alta.
It'll just be kilowatts.
The sport
depends
wants
the rider
race.
too. I mean, that makes a difference too. You know?
Right. So how do you figure out what's fair in real racing?
Yeah.
They're going to have to figure it out. But the cool thing is, hey, they don't know where 2-strokes belong either. But it's cool we have events like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Where we're like, screw it, bring them, race them.
Well, talking to Josh, he said what's great about it, he says you wash it, put some chain lube on the chain, and he says you don't do anything to it. He's ridden it all year long. Tighten the spokes, put chain lube on it, and go.
So he doesn't have an army of mechanics coming to his house every day.
He's a desk job now. He's a cubicle guy.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. But I would think because he's riding it and we see him on Instagram, people probably think that he's got development guys surrounding him 24/7. No, they basically gave him a bike.
Just give him a bike.
And he just rides it.
Yeah, just
That's
go
it.
for it.
Oh.
And it's sick that he's been, I mean, I know he goes and does do test days.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, he's just got one in his shed and just goes and makes Instagram clips.
In the shed.
In the shed. In the garage. What do you call it?
Garage.
Garage.
The garage.
So let's touch on, before we lose Ken, how long you got?
However long he needs.
He's going to be very mad if all the 2-strokes are done.
Until Ken decides to leave,
okay.
we got to talk about your comeback. Don't call it a comeback.
Don't call it a comeback. I never left.
All right.
But I remember I texted you the day you posted like your first video on Instagram of hitting turns, and I legitimately was so stoked. Like, I saw that, I had no idea that the riding thing was happening again. I didn't know any idea of the timeline. I was in Australia. Bam, Ken Roxon's shredding turns, and so I text him and I go, dude, you have no idea how stoked that was, because that was a bad deal. Everyone knows how bad that was.
Oh, yeah.
And to see you riding again, and his response was, yeah, I was riding pretty shit though. And that was day one. And I was like, he's back.
He's already.
We never lost him.
Dude, there's something like, you know how many times I've been out there, I'm like, yeah, but I have the feeling like something's missing, like, and it was like, I haven't ridden that. I'm like, like I reminded myself, and I'm like, because me and Oscar, we talk about it all the time. I'm like, this is way better than a few weeks, months ago.
Right.
I was freaking, I had the external fixator, and I'm like, dude, I am not going to be riding for months and months, and it was months. But honestly, when the doctor called me and said, hey, let's start riding a little bit, you can start, and I'm like, are you sure? Like, my arm feels mingled still. Like, I have pain right now, stiffness pain. It's healed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Stiffness pain, a lot of it. And I was like, man, my arm still feels mingled. I don't know. Like, is that a full thing? Like, I was blown away. I did 10 calls in 2 minutes after that. I'm like, hey, I need a bike now. I need gear now. Send it. I'm riding tomorrow. And I did ride the next day.
All right.
And so yeah, I mean, it was a bad deal. And went good, and knock on wood, and I like to knock on my head. It's gone the right way very quick, which I'm beyond stoked. At one point we didn't know if I was going to keep my arm, we didn't know if I was going to be riding again or whatever. And I mean, if I wouldn't have had Dr. Viola work on this arm, because it was a bad deal at first, I'm not going to go through all this crap again, but it was a bad deal in the first hospital I was at. They wanted to just, I mean, you're like, oh, we'll do this now, we'll have the plastic surgeon here, we'll send you on your way. Well, 11 surgeries later, and my arm's finally somewhat normal. It'll never be 100%, but it's good enough for me to. It's good enough for me to win. Let's put it that way.
But what you're saying is like, yeah, you should have been like happy, like I can't believe I got back to this point where I'm on the bike, and you were already critical of the way you were
because
riding.
Because I have the
Day
feeling
one.
in my
Day
body.
one.
Yeah.
I have the feeling in my body of to win, to go fast. I know I have that sensation in my head of like carrying the momentum.
Well, you're just a creature
when
of
things
habit.
don't click, I'm
know?
like, this is bullshit. I should be better and whatnot. And here I am weeks later, and I don't know if I'm riding the best ever, but I feel the best I've ever felt and everything, and I'm fine. But back then, weeks ago, I'm like, no, I should be there right now. I should be the best, and because that's what I left off of,
Yeah.
I was going.
Well, that's
good,
what I'm saying. Like, you're a creature of habit. Like, when you left, you were just killing it. So that was some next level Ken Roxon. Like, shit, he's a guy. Hey, we got Brock Tickle in the house.
Brock Tickle
What up,
here.
dude?
Little freebie.
Little
Yeah.
freak. What's up, mate?
RJ, you got any experience with the stuff he's talking about here with these wrist injuries?
A little bit. Like, how many days, when you say you get on the bike and your mind, you know you're off. You know you're missing your timing, and you're like, I see it, but I'm not feeling it. And then I remember I was in Colorado on a practice track, and I was screwing around, and it's like halfway through a little moto, it happened. And it's
Really?
like, I'm like going,
Just click.
I can be that again.
It was a bit different for me because I started riding, and honestly, I pretty quickly I'm like, oh, dude, I feel like I can ride really fast right now. But my arm held me back for a couple months at least. I mean, I'm talking about my wrist was hurting, Not that there was anything wrong with it, but I also started riding when I had metal still in it, right? So I had big problems, and it kept me from doing better. Was just straight. My wrist was, it was hurting really bad. My elbow, I didn't have any movement whatsoever, which I barely have movement now, but I had metal in it. My mind, I could have, if my arm was less pain, I could have gone a lot faster, but my arm didn't let me. So on that part, it took a long time because I'm still not riding pain free,
Neither am I.
Never got there.
They fused it, but and that was the thing for me, is that I couldn't twist the throttle at the rate that I wanted to and keep the body angles that I needed. Because my hand, I would have to twist the throttle like this, and then I'd have to drop my angle and stuff like that. So I wasn't holding on to the handlebar the way I want to. I was always all over the place and trying to twist the throttle at the same time.
Yeah. So I have the luxury of not. It's not
the other arm.
But having said that, when you stand up, your wrists are bent. Mine is zero.
So are you having to roll your arm forwards like that?
Not necessarily roll forward, but my wrist is not like that. My wrist is straight, so the handlebar is constantly more in my fingers rather than my actual arm. So I struggle a lot right now. I have calluses, but when your hands get raw underneath it and they get inflamed, that's what I struggle with the most. I just don't. The grip is different, and
I'll give you a piece of advice right now.
Whoa! Right on the show. This
Right.
is big.
So a lot of people don't, because they want their bars straighter and they want to feel that. But now you can't hold the bar like that, so it's killing your thumb. If you get more sweep, even if you had one side, you put the bar with more sweep, but you don't want the bars back. You can't have them back. But you put more sweep to a bar, and it hits down here and it doesn't hit there, and so it puts more angle so you can push more. So do it when you do a push-up. Take your little bars and put some more angle in them so it's not straight. It's a little more angle.
Yeah, I don't ride a very straight bar at all. It's not comfortable to me. So I ride a bar that has
More
sweep
sweep?
to it. Yeah, for sure. But it's not. When you're standing up, there's no. I just don't have the extension of the wrist. The rest is fine. I have pretty good flexion. That is fine, but it's the extension part. I'm dealing fine. I'm adjusting. I'm going to be fine.
It's just like a process thing. Yeah.
It's just taken longer than because I've been riding now for quite a bit.
It's been months.
But it's still I'll ride and I'll do my laps, and by the end of the day I can barely hold the handlebar just because it's hurting underneath my calluses.
All right. So before we let you go, we'll get Tickle. Ken Roxon 2-stroke invitational. I hope you're going to be handing the trophy out there. What do you want to see for 2 strokes? should Two Strokes come back in some form? Because this is the flagship event for Two Strokes.
So
in terms of professional
Pretty
motocross,
much.
this is it.
Yep.
Let's talk about in the ideal world of Ken Roxon, the creator of the Ken Roxon Two-Stroke Invitational at Red Bull Straight Rhythm. What is the ideal world for Two Strokes going forward?
See, that's just a tough one because they will never be back in legit professional racing. The four strokes
but is
are
there
too
anywhere
good.
that we can, could we have like a 252 stroke class at Supercross for privateers?
But who's going to ride it?
Dude, the guys that can't afford to race
but have you sent somebody that is in the 250 class? Never mind on a two-stroke on a Supercross track, they will kill. It's just not, especially on Supercross. It's way too far away. I don't think it'll ever happen again.
But I think it needs to make a strong comeback with the amateurs because for one, just the money savings of a guy being able to go put a new piston rings in his bike. You can do that like I did, like probably you did. With your dad, pull the cylinder off, change the piston, change the rings, and you spend $150.
It's just too different. Like first off, they are all on four strokes. They will try and do it no matter what. So now you send, unless there's a separate class, but even that, you expect somebody to do the 125 thing, and then you throw them on a 250 here, go ride lights or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just I don't. It's
so
a.
it's
I don't.
So it's living in.
Don't get me
straight
wrong. I
rhythm.
love two strokes. I love riding them. I love everything about them. But when it comes to racing, it's hard to believe that they'll ever make a comeback just because the four strokes are so advanced and it's such a. You have you're better on a four-stroke. It is what it is.
So the Ken Roxon Invitational is special. That's what we're getting at.
This is it then.
That's a cool thing
Yeah, it's
about
not
this
going
race.
anywhere. One and done.
Yep, that's the cool thing about this race. You're able to do pretty much whatever you want. You can show up on whatever you want that has two wheels, not three or four, two wheels.
Okay, that's
right.
the only rule.
Ken, you're out of here.
All right.
We're subbing you out. Musical podcast. Where's Brock Tickle? We're bringing him in. Thanks, heaps for the time.
All
All
right,
right,
brother.
thanks,
See you,
Ken. Go watch some practice. All right.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, dude.
All right.
I'll bring you some clubs.
That's so you get some
Yeah.
man's heart.
No, yeah,
you do
we-
some golfing. All right.
He hooked me up a couple years ago. Tickle.
All right.
What's up, big dog?
Hey,
Thanks,
I feel
Ken.
this is one of the first public appearances, and I know you raced last week at Monster Cup, but I feel like we haven't talked to you much about this huge switch. I mean, this is for the whole off season. This is probably maybe the biggest high-profile move. Who's going to take Ryan Dungey's spot? Well, congratulations. That's you, my man.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked. It worked out. Yeah, I'm in a good place to improve and get better. So I'm really stoked for the off season, heading to Aldens here in the next week or so, and then start riding with these guys day in and day out.
So have you not fully done that yet? Like you're going to do it, but have you not been super Baker program with these dudes yet?
I've been riding with Jason a little bit, and
Yeah.
Marv only has rode 2 weeks, so
I see. It's kind of been break time.
yeah, exactly. For me, I was obviously injured during outdoors, so whenever
Right.
I got the call that I got the ride, I wanted to ride. So I started riding, and I've been on the bike now for like 4.5, 5 weeks. So and started with Alden around the same time. So it's been a good transition. Really looking forward to keep improving. I feel like I've already improved since I've gotten back on the bike.
So how helpful is it for you to have a race last weekend and this weekend? If you put 5 weeks on this bike already, you probably want a little outlet to do something.
Yeah, I felt like last weekend was good for me. I obviously had more time than most people to get ready for it, but it's the best Monster Cup I've had, hands down. And I felt the best I ever had. So just the transition in general has been easy, and really enjoying the bike and working with everybody on the team.
Well, we were talking, Brock, that you just felt comfortable on the bike right from the beginning. You were talking about jumping into the corner sideways and some different things. It kind of enlighten everybody on what it's like to switch. And we talked about, is it the steel frame? Is it what is it? But talk about the comfort level when you first got on it.
Yeah, I mean, right away. I mean, obviously, the cockpit on the bike is going to be quite a bit different than any other Japanese bike. So for me, that was the hardest thing to get used to. But my speed was instant. Like, I felt at home right away on the bike. The characteristic of the frame, I believe, is what I was getting that sensation from. But yeah, like, I think Monster Cup was a great test for the bike, and to see there was places I could pick out on the track where I feel like the machine I'm on now is better.
Well, you said to me at Monster Cup that the initial, you just got on their motocross setting, and that's what you did your first laps on. You said that was the best bike you've ever rode in your life.
Oh, for sure.
And that was like, that wasn't a in like interview talk kind of thing. That was just like we literally had
Yeah.
So I could tell.
Real talk. It was real talk.
That was real talk.
Okay.
I've been around enough dudes doing the new bike talk
Yeah.
to know when it's new bike talk, and Tickle just went like, "Wait, bro, it's like the best bike I've ever rode in my life."
I was pretty ecstatic, like just the first week of riding, because I obviously was injured. I was excited to ride, so obviously that was partly why I was so excited. And then on top of that, getting on something else and then feeling really good on it, it was like, wow, this is a good transition.
I feel like it wasn't a gamble.
No,
it's not this ride.
Like, there's a couple of rides where you could be like, "Ah, man, is this taking the money?" But it's like, "Nah, I'm taking the bike on this deal."
I'll be honest with you guys. Like, say this didn't pan out. Where, I mean, Barsha got this ride.
Yeah,
Bogle,
other guys, everybody wanted
Bogle went to JGR because he won Budds Creek.
Yeah,
where would that put me?
3 guys going for 2 spots, basically.
Exactly. So I'm just I'm not gonna take this opportunity for granted. That's for sure. I definitely feel like I'm remotivated myself to go to the next level. I felt like obviously the last couple of years at RCH I've been a little stale, but I think that this transition and this opportunity is going to be really good for me.
But that leads to the classic question everybody has. What about the pressure? Like, you also know that you have this coveted ride. You've got to be saying to yourself, I need to step it up. I need to get even better results than I've ever had now that you're at this level, right?
Yeah, but it comes with it. I think all of us at the level that I feel like I'm at and the guys that I race with, when you get something like this, that it doesn't even that pressure doesn't even bug you.
Really?
So at this point, I put enough pressure on myself to go out and perform, and it's not just a weekly thing. It's an all-year deal, obviously, to focus and worry about your results and doing day in and day out things that are going to make you better.
You're paid to win.
Yeah.
So talk about the team process. You've been with a couple different teams. You said you were with RCH last year and stuff like that. It's not an accident or just some engineer that designed a bitchin' bike. It's a complete process with Ian, Roger, Jim, the whole different thing. How much do you like that, and how is that working out for you?
Yeah, kind of coming from RCH, we kind of started out with not really much going on. We didn't really have a suspension tech in the beginning. We didn't really have motor options. We kind of moved into getting better stuff and getting employees that we needed. And coming here, it was pretty turnkey, to be honest. And just the atmosphere at the track and at the race, I got to see it this past weekend at Monster Cup. It's awesome. So that's something that I'm really stoked on. And it's good to be around a group of guys that have won races basically that's all they've been doing
consistently.
It's all they've been doing with Roger and Ian.
There's a difference between, and the teams that I've been involved in, there's a difference between, and it's athletes, it's teams, it's the whole deal, between wanting to win, believing you can win, and expecting to win. That's 3 super different scenarios. And I feel like, with no disrespect to RCH, they're not expecting to go to that race every single weekend, and they're going to be pissed if they don't win. But then you get to a team like KTM, where it has this, like, they've had Ryan for 4 or 5 years doing every single weekend. They were pissed if they didn't win. So it's like, what's it like now for you getting in a position where you're in a team where they expect that win, and it's not a like, damn, we're stoked if we reel off a win or a podium. Like, this is just anything other than winning is going to be like, come on, man.
I feel like that's a good thing, to be honest, because it creates, I don't know, it creates you to step it up, basically.
Yeah, there's no outlet.
There's no, what are you going to do? You don't make excuses. You can't, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, what are you going to tell Roger DaCosta?
Exactly. What are you going to do?
Sorry, man.
But I've been in your shoes. When I went from Yamaha to Honda, and I had Dave Arnold and Jim Anderson and Roger DaCosta and stuff to lean on, people think, there's all this pressure. But you have, when Roger DaCosta comes up and talks to you, he exudes confidence, and he'll say things to you like, there was a race at Redbud in '86. I couldn't hit my ass with both hands in the first moto. It was terrible. I think I got 4th or something like that. I think I got 3rd, but I was just struggling. He goes, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, I'm lost.
I don't know.
And he goes, "I think I have something." I'm like, "Change whatever you want." Tires, shock settings, the whole deal. And he went to the Showa guys, changed my suspension, this and that. I didn't even ask him. I just went out and rode it, and I won the moto, and it was because of him. And when you have somebody like that, and he's the captain of the ship, and it gives you all this confidence. It's not the pressure. You feel like I want to win, and I have to win, and I should win. It's not a matter of, oh God, some people I can't handle the pressure. I think Brock's feeling it right now is that no, I'm part of a legacy here, and I'm going to do what I need to do, and I'm going to make these steps forward. Not, oh shit, I gotta try to be this guy. No, he's going to be the first Brock Tickle, not the next Ryan Dungey or anybody else, and that's the confidence that you're hearing from him.
And with that, how much? I'm just curious. It's on topic but off topic in a way. How much of what Roger did to your bike when you won that moto? How much of it was the bike, or the fact that he made a change and you didn't want to let him down?
There's 20% bike, 80% Roger DeCoster set my bike up. And that's the thing is that, and ironically, you're working with two of the guys that I work with, Jim Anderson on suspension, that's the suspension guy, and Roger DeCoster. So when you got these guys and they're not greedy and they're not going, it's my idea, my idea. It's what's best. And we want to win. And having that confidence, you don't want to let them down. You don't want to be that guy, but it's not. You just feel empowered.
It's just like an X Factor kind of thing.
You're totally empowered. That's the best way I can say it. It's not pressure. It's like I can do it. I can do it.
Did you feel that at Monster Cup at all? In any,
Honestly,
like have you felt anything from being around him?
That's the least pressure I've felt ever racing ever.
Wow.
Like
really?
For real. I went to Monster Cup like, all right, we're here. I feel like maybe the program with Alden and riding with Jason during the week and just doing everything kind of together, because in years past I've pretty much been doing everything by myself, to be honest. So I think I just was ready for it, you know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to, just like he said, it's exactly what he's saying. It's the confidence they bring to you. You can feel it. Like when he walks up to you and tells you something, you're listening. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, you have to win. He's not telling me to do that. You know what I mean? He's gonna supply what I need to and be there for me when I need something.
I want to know what the talk was. I mean, we probably can't even really talk about it because, Marv won the $1 million on straight up speed. But what was the conversation where it was like, wait, Ando, what are you going to get for second? 100 grand? I'll give you 150. I'll give you an extra 50K to just be a roadblock. Tickle, new on the team, man. You want this to work out?
Don't screw
you want this to work out?
Yeah.
All right, bro.
Yeah. At least I'll take you to dinner next time we're down in Florida, or something had to be on. You don't want to screw that up.
There was honestly nothing said at all.
Well,
me and Jason were kind of
like, I just thought I was like, you can't say it.
Next to each other on the start line on the third start, and we were like, well, he's like, well, he didn't offer me anything, so like.
I would have been like 50 grand, bro. I will give you $50,000 on top of your second place, which is pretty good, Jason. It's pretty good,
Bullshit.
man.
$1 million, man. I would have held out for 100G. I'd have said 100.
You would have been a hard negotiation.
I would have given you 100G. I would have given you 200.
See, because you just said I'll give you 10. Well, no, I want 100. Okay, 100.
I would have done. Hey, I would have done it.
That's good math, man. $900,000.
That's a nice profit.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a nice profit.
That's what I'm saying.
But you got to give it to
Keep
Marvin,
it in the family.
Man. He
stepped up.
Waxed you guys on the whole shot. He was on.
The week before Monster Cup, he rode a week. He rode 2 weeks before Monster Cup.
Yeah.
The first week, obviously, he was getting his feet wet and whatnot. But second week, he really brought the heat.
Oh, so you knew he'd be pretty good.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Just what we were saying about. Oh, speaking of the great man, there he is there. Just what we were saying. I feel like the same kind of influence. So what you felt with Roger and now being on the team, I feel like Marv felt that with Dungey leaving the team. You know what I mean?
And this is the best segue I've ever had. So I'm going to relinquish my seat to the man.
All right.
Here we go.
And I keep asking him, can I borrow like 20 grand, Marvin? I need a little, just to float me a loan.
Yeah.
Like about a 30-year, 0% interest.
Bro, what's one millionaire to another? We know.
Yeah, exactly.
We know you're just rolling.
And rolling in it.
Rolling.
But
what's that 1987 salary? Is that compare?
Very close.
Okay.
No, but guys, hey, Brock, it's great to see you. Good luck. All you guys, thanks for having me on the show. And I'm going to pass it over. Marvin's getting ready. So
look at the great man. Looking like $1 million.
See you tomorrow, RJ. We're going to bring, the latest millionaire.
Hey? The great man looking like $1 million. There he is. How are you, bud?
Rolled up in a limo today. Took a helicopter to the limo. Everything's changed, man. Limo with a hot tub in the back.
Hey, it's
all changed now.
They used to fly into Ontario to get to this race, and there's a private airfield that's just over there.
Yeah.
So now Marv flew in on the private jet. He's got a timeshare with Dunge. So that's how it's all working. No, but seriously, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you. No, just same old, dude. It didn't change. I mean, right now it doesn't change much. I'm just so happy the way I rode at Monster Cup, and obviously to come all the way to win all 3 motos. It's unbelievable. Only happened the first year, so it's cool to do it again. After Vito Polo.
It's the hilarious thing that people wouldn't believe that, because when you say the million, it's whatever. People don't believe it, but when you're around racers as much as I am, and you are around you guys, riding well and winning. That's a better feeling than the $1 million. The fact you keep saying the winning the 3 motos is what felt good.
Well,
the million is cool too.
Alden doesn't even let him eat cheese. What's he going to spend $1 million on? Like, if you can't even eat cheese through the week, what else are you going to do?
Yeah. How do you know though?
Hey, I know.
He's not with me all the time.
Nice.
Yeah, that's true.
Nice.
Hey, and I bet Mathilde gets some pretty nice French cheeses going, some cheese and dip plates. I bet you guys sneak a couple in.
Yeah, for sure, a little bit.
What I want to know, that scrub. That scrub.
Well, the picture is pretty crazy
sick.
looking, but the rhythm we both did was completely different. So I was like triple double, and he went double and then triple, and and pull, all the way to make that triple. So I was
Don't
only
talk it down. Come on, this is a podcast. This isn't an interview. It's just the
but what I'm saying is our rhythms was completely different, but. Yeah, when I knew it was right there, I just tried to scrub super hard to
ripped.
Go,
Ripped that thing. that was one of the. I'm trying to think of a cooler scrub I've seen. Maybe some like Barsha Honda scrubs. Ken's thrown some dirty
Geyser's
ones.
not too shabby.
Oh, Geyser's had a
some
couple.
good
Not in Supercross. He throws some motocross ones. But I'm talking legit soupy scrubs. That was up there, Marv. So that was I drove to Vegas. I stayed for the 2 races. That was the highlight of my night.
Nice.
Just made a little Aussie boy's dream with that scrub. You brought it back. We actually have James Stewart coming on the podcast later.
Really?
Yeah, we do.
Really?
Anyway, we'll leave that for another time.
Okay, sure.
Tell me about your homie Tickle here. He's on the bakery program now.
Well, actually, we haven't been to Florida yet, but we only been riding together at the test track in Corona, and everything is going really nice. I mean, we only did 1 race together as a teammate, and everything is all right. I mean, it's been a good weekend, and Brock seems to be a good guy, so I'm really happy to have him as a teammate.
I'm a pain.
He's all right.
I'm a pain.
He's all drama. You're all drama.
He's good. He's good now.
Yes.
I just blanked on what I was going to ask you. Oh, I was going to say, has he ever taken you out, or have you guys ever taken each other out?
Any beef?
No, but last year in practice a couple times.
Tell me about it.
All right, there was beef once.
Not really, but
let's make it up. Come on, just tell me about the beef.
Where was it? Toronto?
No, it was Dallas, maybe.
Because there's even a bit of distance between them, just with the way the podcast is set up. So this
or maybe that's not why.
Or maybe this is how they wanted it to be.
I don't know. It was one of them.
But then you came to me after and you said, "Oh, sorry, I was going crazy or something."
I was frustrated.
Yeah,
but it's so easy to run into somebody at practice. I mean,
what you don't know is he actually texted us and said, "Did you see me clear Marv out?" So I mean, I don't know if that's worth it.
He said, "I'm going to." It's premeditated. I'm going.
Yeah, that's
to
what it was. I forgot about that.
So there were no problems when you heard that he might be coming over, and not just to the team, but this is a full-time deal because he's going to be riding with you during the week too.
Yeah,
no problems.
No, I mean, I'm not the boss of KTM either or anything. You know what I'm saying? So,
that's true.
I mean, the team did tell me about who they were thinking of picking for next year, and there was a couple riders, and obviously they picked Brock. So, and I think he's been already looking super good on the KTM. So I think it's a really good thing for him.
Any new bike stuff coming out? Is there anything that's? You guys probably got Is there any new bike?
Nothing.
Nothing new bike.
Go ahead,
okay.
try. Crack this code.
Must have been a Honda I was thinking about. Must have been a Honda.
Crack this code.
Yeah,
unless we get this bar open and hold them here for an next hour, they're not talking.
We need another Red Bull.
Oh, we can say it's coming soon.
Your bikes were exactly the same at Monster Cup as they were in any other race ever, right? Totally exactly the same.
No, I mean, you already know.
Oh, okay. All right. At least he's admitting that I know
that's all we can say.
Okay. At least we know something.
I don't know. I was on a different bike.
That's
He's
right.
never even rode it.
He wouldn't even know the difference.
Yeah.
That's true. What's this for you to do this event? You did well last year. You won it. Won it in the 250.
Oh,
class. Here,
oh,
yes.
I thought you were still on Monster Cup.
I'm just I go fast. You won in the 250 class way back, right?
The very first time,
yes, the first
and then I
one.
missed the second one.
Yeah.
And I raced last year.
Was that your wrist?
Mhm.
Still working on the wrist 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So what is this one like? At the time you won it, you actually beat Ryan, and then I was like, wow, that's pretty big. And they're like, hey, man, you can't read too much in a straight rhythm. It's just a random off-season race. But, hey, you had a really good season.
Yeah, I feel like that was. I honestly think that winning last year. I mean, it's so hard to say if you would have done anything different at A1, but I feel like that winning's winning, man.
I know.
Like,
Yeah, well, I totally agree with you guys. I mean,
Yeah.
I was super happy to beat Ryan. I know it's not a Supercross race, but that's a race. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I go,
something.
yeah, any kind of racing. You know, we just fought super hard, and we were side by side, and you know, I won my first big even on the 450. So that was that was awesome for me.
You have done no, you have not done this yet, right?
No.
Okay, so I'm sure you've watched it. I'm sure you checked it out. What beyond racing it tomorrow? What has your thoughts been watching?
I mean, I think it's a cool event because
Yeah.
it's in the timing of us just getting in the transition to riding
Yeah.
Supercross again, and there's no pressure really, so it's just a cool race to come and hang out and do. So for me, just gonna have fun tomorrow, and that's the thing, like what you were talking about with Marv, like winning is winning.
Yeah.
But like, you gain confidence when you know you rode how you're supposed to.
right.
You know
Whether
what I mean?
You get $1 million or not.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I think goes hand in hand with us building confidence and going into the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, so the whole off season, if I feel like I rode at my ability the whole time, A1 is going to be a good race.
Well,
you know what I
like
mean?
they say, you're only as good as your last race.
Yes,
So
for
then Marv obviously is coming into this. Well, he's past champion in this, coming off Monster Cup. You rode really good at Monster Cup. Like, we haven't even really spoken about that yet. You were killing it.
Yeah, I
at
felt
Monster
really
Cup.
good. I think if my starts would have been a little bit better, it could have. I feel like me and Jason and Dean were all running about the same speed.
Yeah.
Marv was obviously faster than all of us, but felt like all three of us were right in with each other. And then there was another group of guys behind us that were a little tick off of us. So I'm happy with that. Just starting out, obviously.
Have you guys rode this track at all yet? This new one? You guys ride
Here
tomorrow
in
for the first
here
time?
at the Red Bull track?
Yeah.
No, never.
Yeah, okay. All right. You were here last year racing. You've obviously walked the track. What looks different? I know the dirt this year looks incredible. They brought some new dirt in.
Yeah, I mean, it looks super cool. We only check it out over there because they were the Two Strokes guys were riding, so just wanted to see what they were trying to do. And there's maybe something like a quad over there, so I just wanted to check it out. We'll see if it's faster or not. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you go super high. It's maybe not faster. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow, and I know practice is always a lot of fun. You know, we all ride pretty much together, and yeah, there's no pressure. The pressure will be on the final maybe a little bit, you know, and it's a fun race, but at the end, yeah, you want to do good. So, but definitely, like Brooke said, you know, it's really nice to hang out. It's definitely not like a real Supercross race. We are, you know, a small group here, and we're excited to see all the fans showing up tomorrow. And at nighttime, I mean, it's super cool. Like right now, like the sunset and stuff like that, that'd be cool.
Plus, we got the mountains. It's kind of a bit rainy, but the backdrop of this is probably one of the cooler backdrops that you get. I did a little bit of research last night. By research, I just
Really?
I just watched Red Bull TV for a couple hours.
That's research.
And there was I actually had a moment where I was like, did they put that background in? Because the sunset was so good. It was like right on that time as before the main started. And so, I mean, yeah, in terms of the event itself and how it looks, because I think the big thing that I think with Red Bull Straight Rhythm is that sports now is about moments, like your scrub. That's the thing that comes out of Monster Cup that everyone shared it, so that was the moment. And then you look at like when Odell Beckham does the one-handed catch. That's a moment. It's replayed. It's on Instagram. It's on social. Like, moments are it's hard to create those moments in like a 30-minute moto or a 20-lap main to just get that one moment that stands out and that can live on social. Everybody shares it. It goes crazy. But here, the entire race is on Instagram. Like, the whole race is a moment. So
Yeah.
it's such a unique format in terms of like building excitement, sharing that crazy kind of energy, or you know, that moment that seems to be what really resonates with fans now. Because yeah, it's hard to post a 30-minute moto.
Right.
So I mean, there's a couple that stand out, like when Hansen and Dungey raced that semi together and they went 1-2, and it's like that's literally what sport should be about. Two dudes, they're on the line. One's won one race, one's won the other race, and it's 45 seconds, winner takes all. And if you make one mistake, you're done.
I was going to ask, you'll find out tomorrow, but you've done it. Like, there's got to be a little. Everybody's nervous on the starting line for every race. And again, I know that this isn't a championship points-paying event, but when you know that one mistake is going to blow it for you, there's got to be a little bit of maybe extra nerves thinking about that.
Have you lost a run here?
No.
I don't think you've lost a run. I was just about to, I don't know if you've lost anything.
No, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's actually really intense, and lining up right next to. Well, you're not really right next to it because you can't see your competitor, but you know he's right there. You know, so it's it's actually really cool and it's really unique.
Is it a different feeling having someone chase you here? You know what I mean? Like when someone's right behind you, because you know, I guess it's the same on a normal race, but you make one mistake on one turn in a Supercross track and you can get it back pretty quickly. But like, you know, you can really push under brakes, or you could, you know, hit another section quicker. But here it's pretty well over unless they make a mistake. So is it different? Do you have to kind of, I guess you're not adjusting your mentality, but it must feel different to have that style of racing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, on the Supercross track, you know, the next corner, if you mess up or something, or you open the door, it's the guy can come right next to you. But here, you know, if you have a little gap and you go through that, you know, the hardest section, and then you know it's going to be easier maybe at the end or something, you kind of relax, and then you know it's going to be good. But it's a lot different in Supercross, and you can definitely see and hear the guy next to you where he's at. Obviously, if it's in front of you, you can definitely see it, but on the back you don't, but you can hear him for sure.
You did did you do that test run they had years ago? Was that at McGrath's place,
yes.
I think, right?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Okay, so what was your reaction of the first time before anyone even did it? What were you guys talking about? It must have been crazy.
Well, the first time, I remember it was they wanted to do like a straight line race, and you're like, it's really hard to put that in your head and to really put yourself into it. But I was like, okay, we'll see. But the way they build the track, it's a pretty high speed, and big jumps and whoops and stuff like that. And like speed check, how they call it, you know, where you do a big scrub. So it was really, really hard to imagine that. But when I did first the test, and it was awesome. We had such a good time. The dirt was amazing out there, and we spent the whole day, you know, just having fun and doing
because
whips
you wanted
and
to,
all that,
because it was just fun.
Yeah. I mean, I was excited. Yeah. I actually flew there on the helicopter, so that was even better.
Millionaire back then.
Private Marv. That's the new one.
Now, on that day that you guys were just trying it, was anyone running stopwatches or keeping track of who won? I mean, I'm sure you weren't supposed to. It was supposed to just be to try it, but were you starting to get competitive? Yeah,
at the end, there is one. There is actually one video that was out there, and where I beat Ryan, and I was actually on the 350, and he was on the 450, and I was able to, you know, hit, like, for example, the whoops and the roller section a little bit better than him, and that video was super nice, and filming by from a helicopter was really cool.
I feel like this event has, because it's been 4 years or 5 years. That probably should have been included in my research. Research.
Yeah, Marvin actually got you on that one.
Well, that's because he's never lost a thing.
No, because I raced twice and missed once, so that's pretty easy.
It's easy math. Yes.
But I feel like now it's 4th year. We've kind of established that some dudes are specialists at it, and I feel like Josh Hansen is one that is a specialist at this race. Like, he could take anyone down at any time. And Marv is the other one. Obviously, he's never lost a moto here.
Says something.
But what I think was cool, I wish Dungey was here to comment on it. I feel like there's a couple of dudes, like even Shane McElrath was another guy that I think he learned something about himself at Straight Rhythm. And I honestly feel like Dungey did too, because Dungey's style isn't that super, he doesn't have that crazy intense scrub every single jump. And I think it's funny that you mentioned that day that you were out at McGrath's Ranch, because I feel like in that day you kind of had his number, and then I feel like that year that he come out here, he just got faster and faster and faster and faster. So I feel like it's interesting to see guys that aren't necessarily like the natural specialist type of dudes, like a
I feel
Marv.
like I fall in that category.
Yeah,
a little
and that's
bit.
what
we're gonna see.
That's
You
what
might-
I was gonna say.
Yeah, you might learn something.
Is
For sure.
you might end up finding something out about yourself through this
I definitely
format.
think this is my weakness for sure. I wouldn't say it's my strong point. I would say corners and being consistent are my strong points.
Sprinting.
So for
We don't
45
think of Brock the
seconds,
sprinter.
45
Yeah.
seconds, something I need to work on.
Yeah, so that's what I just thought was interesting, is that this event is so left field in terms of the format, the race time. And yeah, I mean, and I've spoken to Dunge about it before, where he's like, dude, straight rhythm really did something for me. And then yeah, you are a guy that you're more of that diesel kind of dude, which was Dunge's nickname forever. So I'm gonna be interested to see if, like, it'd be cool to get your thoughts on this once you've
After
rode,
the fact, yeah.
to just see
But
if
don't say that too much. He might beat me. So.
I know. He's got a nice record going right
Come
now.
on, come on, stop.
Hey,
stop that.
he might be on the new bike. He doesn't know the difference.
Okay. Yeah, it was funny. Dunge beat Stewart in a run
Yeah.
2 years ago.
That was hectic.
And it
dude.
was,
that was
the
such
people
a good
were
run.
going nuts.
Yeah.
Because they, just as you get to the grandstand, and I'm sure you could probably hear the people when you get down there, right? Yeah. So the grandstand's going crazy because Dunge was actually behind him and managed to get ahead of him right before the finish, and people were going nuts. And I feel like there was all this buzz over, man, I can't believe it, Dungy beat Stewart. But which is weird because Dungy was the Supercross champion at that time. Yet it blew people's mind that he beat James Stewart in an event like this, because it was just based on what they think they're specialists in. A 17-round series, 20-minute main events, yeah, Dunge is the champ there. But in a 45-second run, who could beat James Stewart? And he did it. And I think it shocked people, even though he was literally the Supercross champion at the time.
Well, that's what you're saying. Like one mistake or one little over jump. I mean, if you're that close the whole way, one little over jump or under jump, that's that inch that he won. You know what I mean? Won by.
The craziest part about straight rhythm to me is that video that you at MC's. There's a section on that where it was the
tabletops.
Oh no,
Like
there was like
on.
That
It
was
was
cool.
like 4 tabletops.
It looked cool.
It sounded good.
there was
And the
one
whoops.
section though where you jump on.
Jump on and then
Yeah,
do
and
the
then
whoops.
there was So they did a slow mo on your rear tire versus Dunge. It was when you and Dunge were right next to each other, and they had this crazy slow mo going, and you just see Marv put it down completely on the perfect downside there, and then his wheel was on the ground the entire whoops. And then you saw Dunge just over jumped it, under jumped it, clipped.
That was probably
clipped.
rollers after whoops rollers.
Yeah,
maybe,
the
I think.
rollers, yeah. And you landed completely downside, and you would manual through complete traction the whole time. And Dunge just missed and went dink, 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 and he skipped 3, and then Marv was gone. That's 5
The whole thing came down to that.
meters of track.
Yeah.
And then it's gone. So I think that, yeah, this is such a crazy event in the nuances. Because obviously, you know, it's 45 seconds, so a mistake or a gain means so much more than, you know, 30 minutes.
Like you said, there is some big jumps, maybe a quad in the front over here, but like that's the thing, is it worth taking the risk of over jumping it and messing up your whole lap? So if you go in the final and it's not that much faster and you can make it happen going the other way, I think obviously that's something to think about too.
I think when the event was announced, everyone figured, okay, this, if they wanted to, this has the potential to have the gnarliest whoops anyone's ever seen, 4 on tabletops, the biggest quad combos, but it doesn't seem like they really decided to go in that direction. You've probably ridden Supercross tracks that are gnarlier than this, even though you don't have to worry about getting tired and all this stuff here, but still, it could be gnarlier, right?
I would think so. I mean, I haven't rode obviously straight rhythm before, but I mean, it just seems like something that obviously the guy building the track, Jason Baker, does a good job and builds everything nice and clean. So that obviously helps us out a little bit with clipping or under jumping or over jumping. So that's a positive for us. But I think it's all about timing and pushing to the jumps and not making mistakes, basically.
I think with the way that they build the track, and I think it's epic, because exactly what you just said about they could make it bigger, they could make the whoops crazy, they could make huge quads, they could do a lot, but then that's like when you see in normal Supercross, right? When the whoops are really big, it really separates those first 3 or 4 dudes, and then everyone else who might be on not as good bikes, not as good through the whoops, struggling with setup, it really takes them out of the race. So what we see with straight rhythm is the tracks are like, I feel like they're really on that perfect teeter point of being technical, but everyone's doing, I mean, not necessarily the same thing, but everyone's able to get through it relatively the same. And then it brings in the element of pressure, because you know that you're not going to bust out something that's going to get you a 5 bike length lead. Like, the track never lets you get away from somebody
That's
to
what
the
they want
point.
to see, obviously.
Exactly, and I think that's why we see such great racing, and you see like Stuart Dunge beating Stu and those kind of things, because if they went too much further with the track, then you're gonna get these big gaps.
Maybe they wanted to make it a little safer too, because we've seen some,
Big
like I remember, Jordan Smith or
Hampshire.
Yeah,
and those whoops were super high speed. I mean, you come in like with so much speed, and you don't want to make a mistake, so a little safer too.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the middle of the off season here. It's not like you guys. I'm sure you'll admit you're not coming in here at absolute peak. Brock said you've only been riding for how long? 2 weeks or so? 3 weeks?
Well, 3 with
right.
this one, yeah.
So
I just showed up a straight rhythm, won $1 million bucks. I've
Yeah.
been eating cheese.
I'm sure you guys, I mean, your eyes are on the prize. You know that the real goal is to come out and be ready from January through May in Supercross. Probably don't want to have a race that comes down to who's willing to commit through these 5-foot deep whoops in 4th gear. Or are you cool with that?
I mean,
Tickle's
I'm
ready.
not.
Tickle's ready.
Okay, all right.
It's by feeling, I feel like.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes,
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. It's safer with that whoops. Yeah.
and like what you guys said, whenever it goes down to the last round, I think like the guys that are going for the last round mentally, they're thinking about everything on the track where they can make up that time. You know what I mean? Even like you said, everybody's doing the same thing. So either get your back wheel down through this roller a little bit earlier, so you can get, just like what you talked about at Marv and Dunge at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly the
It's
same
just those
kind of things,
tiny
like,
little
exactly.
details that you could miss.
Do you know as soon as you're done with the run, like, is it just a blur in your head? Or could you literally go to the team and be like, yeah, I did these 2 things right, but I messed up this part? Or is it all just a blur?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, okay.
you might know it, but sometimes you forget.
I feel like, I mean, that happens in us racing. Like, I can pinpoint, like, lap 12, I don't know
Really?
what I did. Yeah.
You can't
Yeah,
pinpoint
I know
it.
I can.
Oh, you can?
Exactly. Wow. I think I can do
Yeah.
something like that.
I
Because I
see.
realized, I don't know. I think if I messed up, I would know exactly where I did it.
So in a regular Supercross, like literally the next lap around, are you like, okay, I messed this up
So
last
if I
time.
mess up,
Yeah.
normally the next lap's my best lap of the race.
Really, you can fix it
I
on
mean,
the fly.
you know how
'Cause
it
your
is.
focus-
make
you
a-
just-
you
your
get that
focus
extra
goes
little
there.
focus
Yeah.
going, and
Yeah. You
helps
don't want to
out.
make that mistake again.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right. Ah, that's interesting how that works.
I want to talk. We just had the 2-stroke practice wrap up.
Except one.
What's that?
Except one.
What do you mean?
Josh Hansen.
Is he riding a 2-stroke as well?
No, but he was on the 4-stroke riding.
Oh,
yeah,
because he's injured, so
They
I
said
think he needed to know if he was
if he
actually
can even ride.
Yeah,
He's injured doing quad over there.
What? Okay. So he
I
must
was,
be feeling pretty good.
I was messing with Eric. Eric Bernard says, "Oh no, but no worries. He's just riding because he wants to test the foot." I said, "Well, it looks pretty good."
Okay.
Hey,
Alright,
you mad, bro?
No,
you mad, bro?
No.
He's got
I'll
a
show him
quad
around.
quad.
I'll show him tomorrow.
Ah, all right.
So
No. By the way, Josh is really funny guy.
Dude,
So
and-
I'm no issue with him. No,
and
that's
he-
not at
That's
all.
good.
He
That's
can
fun.
ride straight rhythm,
Yes,
that's for
and
sure.
he
Yes.
killed it over there, and it was really nice to watch him ride. Yeah.
I want to talk about so with the 2-stroke class, have you guys had as much fun as I have watching Ronnie Mack talk
Always,
shit
always.
on everybody?
He's a legend.
The talk shit game of
Oh,
Ronnie
God.
Mack
Yeah,
has
to the
been
next level.
on fleek.
Yeah.
Unreal. What's the best post?
Have you
Video
heard?
photo post when you post all his championship.
That's good.
Yeah,
was the
that was
best.
good. That
That
was
was-
good.
That's good. And he said, ask CR22 about it. He was there for all of them.
Oh,
burn.
Yeah.
Burn. But you guys are obviously in the gossip circles. You know all the riders personally. You're one of them. Anyone getting really bummed about this, or is it all in good fun? I haven't heard any like. Hey,
No,
that was,
everyone's
I think
stoked.
If you
everybody
know
thought it
it's
was
Ronnie
cool.
Mack, I mean,
It's the way it
it's
is.
a joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's honestly been one of the coolest things about Red Bull Straight Rhythm, and I wonder if we can implement this. Maybe you boys. We're having a combo here. Let's talk. Let's be on the real. Can we start some shit talk? Because it just gets so boring with it's so professional, and I mean, credit to you guys. You guys do an amazing job. But can we start some midweek shit talk? Like, let's keep the podiums good. Let's
Just
keep
like-
some handshakes.
Just like the picture of the scrub, and
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
start
Yeah, post
talking
some
shit
stuff.
about
Exactly.
Eli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it, man.
That's definitely not my style.
No, no.
But that's like there's got to
I
be.
do it all the time, so.
There's got to be.
Yeah, you two are real rabble rousers. You two guys
we
are
cause
just
a lot of
so
issues.
controversial.
It's gonna be. I mean, I could see a point this season where both of these guys are suspended for poor conduct.
Totally. Well known.
Old Marv over there.
Just go out and then Jason Lawrence style.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if J Law
I
rode
do
straight
miss
with him?
J-Law around,
Dude,
though.
me
Yeah,
too.
it
People
was
did love it.
awesome.
People did love it.
Nothing again. I mean, I felt bad for Dunge that one year. 2008, right?
Yeah.
Oh
2008.
man, it's unreal watching how bad. Like
I
He
feel
did him
like
pretty dirty.
Oh.
Yeah.
His podium interview the week before the last round, right? Or he says, he's blowing the championship away. I'm just watching, and you're like, wow.
dude,
Yeah.
I feel like, in all seriousness, that changed Dunge's career.
it built him. It did.
He had to. There's not many dudes that have had to come through the kind of adversity that Dunge faced that year. That was some Conor McGregor shit.
That could break. I mean, it could have broke him.
It did.
Honestly,
It did that
for a
season.
little
That was
bit.
real. Mike Gregor was kind of, all that thing was kind of fake.
This
no?
was real. Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah, that was-
that was real.
But
We
that
don't care. We'll take it any way we can get it.
that did break Dungy that year. He broke. He lost that championship, and he would tell you that right now. He would go, J Law got in my head. But look at what happened after it. So I wonder what happens in Dunge's career if the J Law incident of that championship didn't manifest
owes him
itself.
a little bit.
I don't think it would have changed too much because I think RV created something also as well.
But
Just
they
that
were it was
competition.
never personal though.
No.
I
For
feel
sure.
like Dunge really hated the dude, and I'm
Oh,
not.
yeah.
I'm not sure Dunge had probably ever actually hated a person in his life. No, for real. But would Dungy hate literally hate anybody? I bet he hated. He hated J Law.
He talked about you one day.
He didn't talk about me.
No, yeah, he said he hated you.
Oh, okay. There is one.
Hey,
All right.
me and Dunge are tight, all right?
You and J-Law.
Yeah,
No.
we're-
I'm joking.
But I really think that Dunge would have been faced with a thing where he would have gone home to his mum and his dad, and he would have gone, "Hey, I actually hate this dude, and I've never hated it." Like, that would have been a weird emotion for him to deal
I
with.
have this feeling. I don't know what it's like. I don't like somebody.
Right.
I feel like being mean right now.
But I wonder how much that influenced the rest of his career. Because Ryan, obviously, there was a really crazy level of competition between Ryan and Dunge, but it wasn't that personal. Like, that was J-Law got savage.
Yeah. No. It was all about racing with Apollo
Yeah.
and Dungy. I mean,
I don't
winning
think we've,
four.
I don't think we've seen anybody personally like
Nah.
in the last couple of years do anything of that nature. You know what I mean? It hasn't ever been like that since J-Law has left.
I feel like people don't like Freeze, but not to that level.
That's a whole different.
Not to that, but
Whole
it's-
different scenario.
Yeah, but it's a
Yes.
different deal. But I feel like Freeze is like, because you call it the heel in boxing, or you know what I mean, when there's a rivalry. Like, yeah, J Law.
No, honestly, no. But yeah, my brother raced 250 two-stroke 1 year, but that's it.
So it's all about like the timing. Like if you were probably 2 years older, or
Oh,
if you
for
were a little
sure.
bit older.
Well, even 1 year for you,
For
probably.
sure, one
Yeah.
year would have put me right in the bracket because I think 04 was basically the year that everything came out.
I see.
You know what I mean? They
Yeah,
all had
that's
them,
right.
basically.
Everyone had it.
Yeah.
What brand were you riding when you first started?
I was Hondas, and then I went
yeah.
to a Yamaha 125 for those 3 months, and then I went back to Honda.
Old triangle cycles,
Yes.
bro. Triangle cycles. Hey, you know what's cool? Like, this was not a guarantee, really, for either of you. I mean, you weren't even living in the United States. There was no guarantee that when you were, say, 12, did you know, yeah, someday I will be winning a Supercross in a stadium in the United States? Like, this wasn't a set deal.
No, for sure, no. I mean, I was going to school, and me and my buddy were just like looking at motocross magazines and stuff like that, and talking about motocross. We were not even listening to the class, It's like, so it was terrible. So good thing for me, it worked.
Okay. And you too, like this wasn't, like I said, the year before you were getting podiums at Loretta's, you were just a guy we laughed at your name. But it wasn't a guarantee that you were going to make it to this level.
Like, honestly, that's what, I mean, if my dad, right after Loretta's that year before I got on a big bike, he's like, hey, do you want to do this or not? Like, because if you don't, we're not going to all the races. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I want to try to race professional. And that's when I made it, but I never thought I would make it this far. I mean, I just wanted to be a top 10 guy when I turned pro. You know what I mean? Because even just the guys that I was around at the time, that's what they did, and I thought it was so cool. But
Just to have done that would have been
yeah,
awesome.
exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, it's obviously a lot more than that. But yeah, it's times I'd flown by, that's for sure.
Yeah, you rode, was your first national, you just rode like your amateur bike,
Yeah,
right?
I drove straight from Loretta's in my van with.
Was it
with
Millville or
yeah,
it was Millville back
yeah.
then, huh?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you weren't being recruited.
No,
Coming
but
straight to
I
Loretta's.
talked to Bobby Reagan at Loretta's, but it went from there. So I went and did that on my own there in Steel City, and then MDK did a 450 for me for outdoor or for Glen Helen.
I remember that.
And then I did a tryout the next week with Star.
Was that
and
when
there
it was
a couple
white,
of guys.
the white MDK bike? Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Oh, you had a tryout.
Yeah, and a tryout with Bobby.
Who else?
I think it was Kyle Chisholm, but it was.
Oh,
so
interesting.
both of us had. I think we would have swapped rides. So he went to Motorsport and I went to Star. So it kind of would have been. Either way, I think I would have been okay.
It wasn't 2 men in or 1 man leaves.
No, but that year I think it was me, Cunningham, Lemoyne, Hill.
Yeah, that was like a big year for the
and
amateurs.
Chisholm. That's 5 guys that turned pro in 1 year out of Loretta's. That's a lot.
Oh yeah, that same year. So that was like Toyota
Because
was
Cunningham
involved.
was B. He was B class at Loretta's. Moved to Yamaha Troy. Then Chisholm went to Motorsport Outlet. I went to Star.
Hills
and
Factory
Hills
Yamaha.
Factory Yamaha.
Wow.
And Will Hahn.
Yeah, Will Hahn
But
got
that
the
was
Toyota ride.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We could talk about
Matt
it
Lemoyne.
all night.
Yeah.
This is
Boys.
amazing. Well,
Yeah,
it's just
stuff like
because the
that.
story is, I don't think people know either of your story as well as others because it wasn't happening like, hey, there's some guys like Villapoto,
James
James
Ricky.
Stewart, everyone was following him the whole time
Trav.
they won all the time. We didn't even know who you were. You're in another country, bro.
I know.
Yeah,
You
all of a
don't
sudden
e- you don't even know where it is.
Dude,
Like,
you've
Yeah, no, it's
no, you've been to
You're right.
France.
Yeah, I
that's
know.
right.
Marv, we got to let you boys go in a minute.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that you're probably the reason that you changed the whole French rider in America. Like, you're the most lovable French dude ever. Before you, like, traditionally the French riders that come over, like, you look at Villeman, you know, there was like a thing about.
Now,
there
I
was
always
a
have this theory.
stereotype.
All you got to do is be cool. Like,
Yeah.
some guys were cool, people liked them. Some guys weren't cool, people didn't like them. So, miracle, just be cool, like you're doing. I don't feel like you get any grief.
But Marv's the dude. Like, Marv's now the guy where we're not like, French dude sucks. You know what I mean,
No.
Marv? You were the dude. So thanks for being the dude.
Oh, yeah, appreciate it.
And boys,
Some people might not like me though, but
I like you, mate.
Sure.
I like you. You're all right.
You're
All right,
always going to have haters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
everyone.
you get like
Everyone.
10%, that's all right.
yeah.
So we got to let you go. We got a couple of legit superstars about to
was
join the
legit.
podcast. No,
Oh,
not these guys.
they're not
The
legit.
Oh,
dudes.
thanks.
No,
Yeah,
you
thanks
guys.
for
Are,
us.
you
Thanks
guys
for-
are superstars as well. But look at these two we got coming in. You really.
Oh, we're bringing in DMXS Radio.
So
really.
you guys are like the pre-show entertainment. We
Yeah.
got the real boys coming in now.
All right,
Nah,
boys,
but
get
for
to
real.
work.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks,
guys.
Marv. Good luck,
Thank you.
dude. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Brock.
$1 million man. Now, what you might, I don't know if you folks saw, but Marvin actually came with a briefcase, handcuffed to him.
He's
carrying that cash everywhere he goes.
I want
Carrying that cash.
Marv, did you try and actually cash the check? Did you take the check to a
He
bank?
can. It didn't spell his name right.
Went to a big bank.
Marvin
sucker too.
Muskin.
Oh,
The
that's
name
a-
was misspelled.
How about that? We just booted those guys off. I felt like such a douche. We were just going to go to our room and eat. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not kicking Marvin
You
Muscan.
kicked
and-
Marvin Muscan and
we
brought
get
Tickle
to-
out of
That's
here.
weak.
Speaking of eating, can we get some pot stickers? Can we get some edamame?
I want some
What's
food.
something good you can eat on camera? Like ribs, spaghetti, maybe?
Yeah, wings.
Can we stop right now and just call out the Australian telling us how Marvin Muskin is appreciated in America?
Hey, good point.
I'm aware.
I heard that. I said, you hear this Australian guy telling us how we feel?
I, as an Australian, feel the Americans.
Ronnie Mac, nobody else wants to ride except that guy. He's had time to drink 8 more beers and really get loose. You're going to see the best lap time of that
He's
guy
going
all
to do
week.
turns.
Yeah.
So hammered.
Yes,
he's
he's
going to do
crossing
turns.
over doing bowl burns.
Hashtag fake news, by the way, people listening. He has no idea what Americans feel about. We do
Yeah,
love
fair
Marvin.
point.
Hey, that's the thing is I'm very aware. I'm so tuned into perception of internationals because I'm an international. So I feel like I'm overly qualified.
You're ISIS as far
I
as the
feel like I'm-
motocross world's
Is that
concerned.
because of the beard?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be here on the
I will
no-fly
not.
list.
I will not be going through customs.
Yeah,
like
you're
this.
on a no-fly list.
And a camouflage hat, Kev. He's basically a.
And you got
he's a
capri
mercenary.
pants on. Let's be real
Dude,
here.
what are
What is going on?
Are your ankles cold?
No, they're actually starting.
Those
to
are
get a little
3/4
cold.
pants.
Are
Brock
those,
Tickle had the whitest shoes
Are
I've
they-
ever seen in my life.
are
How
they
did he even
long-
get here without
They
them?
long shorts or short longs?
They're so bright.
are those Mathilde Muskin's pants?
I did have to borrow one because I got so excited about coming on the podcast. I had to borrow someone else's pants
Did they
because of you guys.
Did they lose your luggage and you're wearing women's capri
What are those, a
pants?
6 or 5? Or are you
I
a
think
5?
they're a women's 4.
4? Wow, 0.
Wait, Jenny Craig did it. Now I'm down to a size 4.
Tell me about your experience at Red Bull Straight Rhythm thus far. I heard you guys
Wait,
on the
wait,
mic
wait a
as
second.
always.
Which one? We've been here for all 7 of
Right.
us.
Yeah, 4 years running. We've hit every one of
Guys
them,
have
right?
dominated it.
Right
yes.
now.
You've done it. You've been there too, right?
Yeah, I've been in all of them.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, it's really easy when you don't have to worry about like being hurt or being between rides to show up at all the races.
Yeah, I can make every race possible.
Yeah, I didn't have any
Usually.
injuries or anything keeping me from participating.
Hey, how does it feel? We need to backtrack. How does it feel kicking off the entire factory KTM team to come on this podcast?
It's pretty good.
I wish I could see the live
You
chat.
missed. We were giving him the finger. We were mooning him like, dude, get up.
Beat
Get
it, dude.
out.
I told Rox, I was like this for Rox. I'm like, let's go.
That's like $1 waiting on a nickel. Get out of the way, all right? Get out of the way.
Dead air on this show. Get the NXS on here.
But Jason Weigandt, knowing me well, how do you think I felt about seeing Chad Reed come
You know how
down?
far he had to stand away from the fence, if that gives you any kind of idea?
Are
You
you
know
a
what I'm saying?
fangirl?
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
a Chad Reed fangirl?
He can't. He don't ask him to stand up. When
Oh, he can't.
Chad Reed's
If he's
riding
wearing
by.
sweatpants,
It's over.
he
What
is
about
wiping the chalkboard.
What about in these bad boys?
Yeah. Oh, you would be no room.
Oh, no, there's no room. no.
Suffocation.
There yeah. There's another listen there. He's going to go 3, and bounce around and whatever the hell happens. That's kind of his style. Wherever I'm at on the track's where I'm at.
I love the spray paint on the
Drop
face
off.
of the Drop off.
That is the Doc Bodner.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. He must have known he was on camera.
That was like the David Iser of jumps right there. The way Iser feels when he sees Chad Reed out there on a 2-stroke even.
It feels like what you just
Dude,
saw.
that was my childhood. Watching him come down that track, the smell of the premix,
Yeah.
the Chad Reed, the 2.2, the Yamaha. Are you kidding me? It brought back every great memory I've ever had of Chad Reed. So
It
I wanted
does.
2009 back immediately. Just like, please bring me back to the.
I want
2007,
my year for Chad Reed was 04.
I think that was his year too.
Well,
think
I mean, I
agree
guess
with you
that's
on
kind
that.
of a silly statement,
It's
but
funny.
that was it. I was a kid, and then I was still racing, and I was like, "Duh, he's just killing it, killing the world. That bike looks sick." I just remember
Style
everything about
looked
that
good.
bike. Yeah, everything about it.
Okay, we got a subject he can be an expert on. What was that like as an Australian? Now you're finally qualified
Yes.
to explain
Looking
to
out
us
on the outside, looking in
Yes.
at the greatest.
instead of telling us what it's like for an
Jace,
American
we'll
to
give you
react.
that one. What it was
Yeah.
like? Tell
What
us.
was it like?
Honestly, I
Being a
just
loser from another country watching
Now,
our sport.
now that he decided to live here because this is
the
obviously
place
the
to be,
best.
obviously.
The best.
Duh.
we need to. Here's what I was stoked on.
That's Mike Brown, Gray, Tennessee.
I am Mike.
When you think of a guy that was like built for this event,
Fucking Mike Brown.
oh, Mike Brown
All day long.
He's waiting for the rocks.
Steve
and the,
Hatch,
telephone
Fred
poles.
Andrews. This is a
He's like, when did
Enduro
they bring?
Cross's
When did they
dream.
bring? When did they bring in the logs?
Hey, if there was an enduro cross
about a half
straight
hour
rhythm,
ago, and he was watching.
Yeah, I-
Sipes and Mike
Hager.
Brown.
Yep. All right, so Australia. Tell us about this. Chad Reed bursting onto the scene. What was that like?
It was pretty good up until the fact that I realized he stopped talking like an Australian.
he lost
He
the
lost
accent.
Yeah,
And
you,
I just
you
went-
sucked it all up.
And I went,
Yours is over the top, Australia.
He took all their accents.
You're a dick.
Took it.
You took the accent.
He did. Brett Metcalf's accent,
Gone.
Chad Reed's accent, just
All right here. Morphed
Ellie,
into him.
Ellie Reed's accent. You
but
Boom.
honestly, as a kid,
Crocodile Dundee, even that guy.
as a kid, I was like, wait, is Australia shit? If he wants to talk like he's American, I was like, it kind of did me over a little bit. I'm thinking, what's
Oh.
the
No
catch?
loyalty.
Yeah, what's he doing? What's he doing
have
here?
you called him out on that person?
I'm gonna if he comes on the
Don't
show.
say your
I'm
R's.
gonna.
Stop saying R's.
Wait a second.
It's America.
Are you going to? Or are you gonna?
I'm gonna.
Yeah,
G
right.
Yeah, right.
U
Got it
N
right.
N A. Nah, but I mean, it really was cool. That I thought we were going to see a run of Aussies that were going to do good, and we had the little
Got
purple
close.
patch. We were close. We had the purple patch of Burner, Matty, McFarlane.
Those are solid.
We had
Ando.
Yeah, we had. Well, Ando won his motos in Southwick. We got Metcalf that obviously did really well. We had at Southwick. We had a Chad Reed, Michael Byrne, Jake Moss podium sweep. So I mean, we
It
had
was.
Oh, I didn't
That's-
realize that.
I did not know that either.
we had
Really?
we had some moments, and now it's
Let me ask
nothing.
you this: what about Townley? Are Kiwis just?
Same guy. Same
Punched
dude.
me in the face at Motocross the Nations with a Hulk glove. So me and,
Oh,
me and
smash!
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
I
and
have one of
Townley.
those.
I started it, but he well and truly
With a
finished
Hulk
it.
glove.
But do you kind of claim them same hemisphere type of stuff?
It's like
or
us
no?
claiming
It's
a
like
Canadian.
yeah, it's Canada. Yeah, you claiming a Canadian?
Hell no.
Wah, Sebastian Wah.
Ha.
No, they're like the guy when you invite people over to help move furniture. They're barely lifting the couch.
Damn it, Sebastian!
Not doing any lifting. You're not doing anything. You're not helping, dude.
Or it's like a generator, and he grabs the end with nothing
Right,
on
with
it.
no-
it's
yeah,
like,
just the gas
Here we
in
go,
it.
running back again.
That guy shredded more laps than anybody else. And watch him if he does this 12 o'clock boner air. It's fabulous. Here it comes. I think he's going to give it to you. Oh, he's looking back now. He is feeling it.
Dude,
Kevin, we-
Ronnie Mack is Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, he's actually building shoes right now, Ronnie Mack. He is living it. This isn't an act, people.
No.
I feel like this is
He's in full method character now.
this is just forever now. And it's
There's-
transferring
you can't
over.
go back. After you've called people out the way you've done it,
That's what we talked about with Marv and Tickle. I
They
don't know
thought
if
it
you
was
guys
awesome.
are there. how good. There has never been a lead up to an event where we have had
Done massive
this
shit talking.
much shit talking.
That's great. I wish they would do that all the time.
That's what we said to him. We're like, I think you
Talk
boys
shit.
need to. Yeah, A1, Marv, post the scrub picture of you basically going 47 feet lower than Eli Tomac.
Right.
Do it.
Post it. Call him out.
Nothing's going to happen.
Hey, last year Jordan Smith with the after the finish line jump.
Yeah, that was solid.
When he punked him.
Oh, he did. He did the no high five. That was something.
Well, at least in basketball, they'll do it real time. Like Michael Jordan, when you're going down the court and he just scored on you because I'm going to do it, I'm going to get 30 on you tonight. They talk shit. And in a lot of sports, football, every play they're talking shit. We don't do that here.
But how I was so pumped. I've been so pumped on this event. And I was like, man, could it just be one more week? Because I want to see where Ronnie Mac's going to go.
I know. You don't want it to end.
I don't know where he could have gone from his
Wait a
last
second.
post.
We went from mothers to girlfriends and wives. What?
Yeah, I don't
That's
know
what
what's
I'm
left.
saying.
You're
like,
done.
we need. Yeah, where do
He's
we
hit
go?
the ceiling.
Once he had the bracket of everyone else's wife, I don't know where else he can
Too
go.
much. It's too much.
Yeah,
So what did he say? It's the only event where I don't want to finish first.
Where I won't finish first. He goes, the only event where I will not finish first.
Oh, get out of town, Ronnie.
God.
Out of the way.
And there's no championship post that you can post that
You can't stop.
Nah,
You can't.
There's nothing. What
He
do you say?
posterize you. You're done.
Yeah, you're done. Done, son. That was ankle snapped.
You're out of
that was
juice.
Villapoto trying to make some ground back.
Hey, so they actually
Snap.
worked on his bike. You guys have probably talked to Greg or whoever's over there working on the bike.
I've
Like
talked-
it's for
I've
real.
talked
Like
to
they
him.
put a full-on crank top end in it.
Yes.
Finally.
It's got a new
new
sprocket,
chain guide.
pipe and silencer, and
Really?
a new chain guide. This thing is like
Ronnie's
factory.
bike?
Yeah,
It sounds tight.
I know when Ronnie was here last year, the thing was like,
they had to put reeds at like 2 in the
yeah,
morning.
they had to go to. Didn't they have to go to a Honda dealer?
Yes,
we heard.
they had to drive a ways to get some reeds.
Yes. Yeah. And there's like, this is a 1998. Do you have anything in stock?
I feel like Ronnie's the kind of dude though that would be super on top of that kind of stuff.
Do you really? You think he's all
on
feel
about
like-
top of
maintenance?
something
Attention to detail?
besides
Yeah.
the wives?
Besides
feel
women
like-
and girls?
I feel like he's the details dude. He's like,
yeah. I totally get
I
that.
talked to him.
Yeah.
He's
I
never
talked-
washed his
Tight
uniform.
program.
When we went and saw him today, I said, Ronnie, you've been training hard. He goes, can't you tell? And I said, yeah, I smell it. He said, yeah, I don't ever wash this. And I said, no, I'm talking about the Pabst Blue Ribbon
Yeah,
on your breath.
It emanates from him, just in that area.
He goes, oh yeah. He goes, that's.
he calls it mother's milk. That's maybe where you got
Well,
confused.
he had one in his top of his overalls. He had one in his hand, had one on the seat, and he was walking through the pits as Greg. Somebody else was helping work on his bike, so he wasn't even doing his own work over there. He's doing his own PR while somebody else
He's drinking PBR.
PBR, his
Doing
PR,
PR.
PBR, and then somebody else was working on his bike.
I love it. I think he's a
Dude.
great role model for kids.
Oh yeah,
and life.
absolutely.
Just
Lot to live up to. Yeah. Well, I went to we covered this event in Maine, the racetrack's main event. And some kid, 8 years old, had the full.
I saw that. That was fabulous.
Dude, it was
To
spot
the T.
stock to the T. The helmet, every
Did he
single
have a
thing.
can of
exactly.
beer? Was he holding a beer?
Yeah, he was holding a can of beer. Yep.
I
Apple
wasn't-
juice. Had some juicy juice.
I'm one of those guys where I was like, I'm not going to have kids. I don't know the kind of world I'm bringing it into. And then Ronnie Mac happened.
Oh, and that's
So
turned it
that-
around
you're
for
gonna-
you.
you want
And
to
I'm
bring
gonna
kids
have
into
kids
that
now.
world.
That
Yeah.
world.
That world's better than
That world.
what else is out there.
Somehow.
Some guy drinking beer, riding dirt bikes.
Uncle Ronnie, I've got the hookup. I'll be like, look, son, this is how you do social. This is how you do life.
This is how you do women.
This is how you drive
Well,
responsibly.
He apparently has his own offspring out there somewhere. We
Yeah,
still don't
Ronnie
know who
Mac
the
Jr.
mom was, but apparently
that's neither here nor
time
there.
is. I mean, there's probably lots.
I know he's got a grown son.
There's probably lots.
Wow.
Out there. I mean, that couldn't have been the only one.
No, Loretta's multiple years in a row.
Oh yeah,
We
down
know.
to the creek.
Yeah.
What a
Lots of-
birth every year.
Water.
Oh, conceived and born there.
Bring the midwife in.
spot.
Yes.
Do not swim downstream, kids. Let this get on down the
You
road.
don't want to be downstream of the placenta.
Ooh, is that afterbirth? Jeez. How do we get there?
Ronnie's
Draw the
Ronnie's
line
chil-
how we went that.
Ronnie's children are like sea turtles. The mother always goes back to lay the eggs in the same place.
Every
It's
place.
It's
See-
Loretta's.
It's that
And they get up and they run
And
out to the beaches there at OGO Beach and jump in the water.
It's that
That's right.
shallow beach in the little corner right
Comes
there.
flat
Exactly
right.
right.
Little baby Ronnies.
And what's good, it's all full circle. The trout eat the placenta as it floats down. It's all good.
Can we stop playing saying placenta? on the
No, I'm
podcast?
just saying. It's full circle. It's about.
I don't think I've ever said that on a radio.
Never been.
It's a circle.
Fallopian tubes have been involved here.
Endometriosis.
I just like to picture. I like to picture my Ronnie Mac holding up his baby.
Yes.
Let's go.
Smack
let's
him in
go
the
full
butt.
Lion King on it.
Yeah,
every year.
the cliff
Except-
that everybody jumps over.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
fold
yeah,
the
he
little
throws,
Roddy
he
Mac.
throws the little babies off. If you live, you're supposed to live.
Except Ronnie
If
Mac.
you don't survive that fall, then
Except
you weren't supposed
Ronnie
to do
Mac slaps the baby's butt and the mother.
Yeah.
Mother's butt.
that. Get out of here.
Good job,
Yeah,
bro.
and the nurse probably.
The whole thing happened at the beer tent. Look, it's so quiet. He just went by us.
bike?
That was Josh Hill. Just
No,
went by
come
us.
on.
Look,
Hey,
he's right there.
Listen to me. Josh Hill.
Didn't even notice.
Yeah, the dust is still flying.
The cable camera is louder than Josh
and it's the
Hill's
same
bike.
motor. That's an Alta motor
On the
in
cable,
the cable
camera.
cam.
Yeah. Well, you said last year they got to have the extension cord that goes the entire track.
I couldn't believe
No,
it.
they went with a trolley car setup now, so it's got the bumper cars.
Sparks.
Straight line, you can do it, but if this track has turns, he's not.
Don't
gonna-
scrub too much because you'll lose contact.
I just picture, you got the old flagpole up out of the
Yeah,
Alta.
absolutely. Just drag it across and giving it power. Absolutely.
Oh, that's classic.
I went back and watched all the Ronnie Mac stuff, including the Back to the Future movie.
Yes.
The
It's
style
actually,
of Ronnie
did you
Mac
know
Jr.
that it's nominated for an Oscar?
I'm not
should be,
shocked
as
at
it
all.
should be.
I mean, and best voiceover work, I think, is actually one of the categories. They had
Yes.
the announcer of the future
Yep.
Red Bull Straight Rhythm. Really knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. He sounded just like a real motocross announcer.
It's crazy
would
how that
sound.
worked out. Yeah,
Yes.
they did their research.
Oh,
now listen.
Ronnie just got steezy off that.
We saw the Alta was out there. He got
He's laying
pissed
some
off.
shit down.
Well, because the Alta just ran. He's pissed off. He's here
Screw
to stop
that guy.
thing.
Absolutely.
Battery
Suck it,
powered
Alta.
vibrator.
On that video, the movie, I watched it last night. I was watching it with my kid, and the style
See, you're
of
like
Ronnie
me. You're
Mac
like
Jr.
me. You want
I
your
want to
kid
raise him
to
in that
know.
role. Oh
watch
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Here.
yeah. Well, we went out and he rode a Strider, and I was running next to him, and I was going on my electric bike,
Nice.
and he was going rin rin rin. The
gotta change
style of Ronnie Mac Jr. I started laughing. I just started laughing watching him just doing the most ridiculous burnouts.
They're so
Brody is
violent.
so violent and horrible.
so-
Oh, the style is so bad.
It is, and he scares you when he does those boner airs. Like it looks
Yes.
like he's not bringing that back. No
Yeah.
way,
No.
no how. And he does it every time.
And last year when they had whoops, sitting down in them.
Yeah,
his
just conserving
ass hit
energy.
every single
Oh,
move.
God.
Back straight.
All right, so what do you
ass on
think
the
they're
seat.
talking about? They go up there, they don't even click on the bike. They don't even have tools. They just like, "What's up? What are we doing tonight?"
Cut
Did I
Let's-
this
beat the
fender
electric
board.
bag? Did I beat the electric bag? It's all he
Cut
cares
this
about.
fender board.
Hey, I don't know if you guys have been watching practice, but every single person other than Josh Hill is a lane violator tonight. They need to be practicing either
Staying
on
in
the
your
right
damn lane.
or the left.
Yeah, they're
People
all
going
over the
right
place.
down the middle of the course. It's, guys,
Really?
you need to practice right and left lines.
Yeah, because when you're scrubbing it and it shoots you off to the
Oh,
right, 'cause
okay.
Ronnie did it every lap.
Yeah,
every
Ronnie-
lap on this jump right here to our left, the last big scrub here.
Off his lane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Went from
yeah.
left to right.
You got to
every
get both
single
feet
time.
down. You got to get both feet down.
Yep, you got to hold it in.
Yep. Get
You
those
got to make
toes.
you got to make
drag.
you got to
Yeah.
make a motocross move before you go off the track.
I got that reference.
That's all right.
Unbelievable.
He did. He got the football, and we're
Maybe
we're
he's-
talking about
maybe he's
our
American.
football reference.
Wow.
Yeah, I got
Two
that
steps.
I can
reference.
understand.
Make a
Hey,
football
I
move.
fought that as long as I could. I straight up fought that as long as I could.
Football?
Yeah, big time. Because
it comes.
I played rugby my whole life, and then the whole thing of rugby was like how lame NFL is, and I got
Oh,
it. So that was
interesting.
like,
Okay.
so you want
They
to
have
talk like,
pads.
yeah, you want to talk about. So that was I was raised on that was for sissies.
Weak sauce.
Yeah, and
You know
then,
what? Jason Weigandt's kind of the same thing because he played field hockey in high school.
Yeah, that's weak.
And he kept
Yeah.
saying, "Ice hockey is for bitches. This is where."
But I had to wear the skirt. That's what sucked.
Yeah, he played
But-
in the women's league.
Yeah.
Hey, now
Plaid.
now I spend my Thursdays and Sundays like a real American.
Damn right
like
you
a
do.
real American.
Who's your team?
Don't really have a team. I have players because I do fantasy football.
I do too.
Because
Wow.
I find it super hard to like. That's my thing. So in Australia, my team is the North Queensland Cowboys because that's where my
Cowboys.
Yeah, so that's like where my hometown is, right?
Right.
Okay.
And so they sucked for 15 years. Literally 15 years, we were the last placed because we were the last team in the league. So we were, and my dad said, "You be loyal,
no
Ride
matter
it
what.
no matter what. Like
You're young.
This is going to teach you how to win."
How to suffer. Yes.
Exactly. So anyway, long story short,
Too late.
I don't have
It's way too
I
late.
don't have a team because I don't have loyalty. So I can't because of the lesson.
That's how you can
from-
jump back and forth between
Yeah, but
sports
see,
and
even that
countries
feels-
and
Well,
women.
This is what this little piece of crap over here. Jason Weigandt, born and bred a Giants fan. They start sucking. All of a sudden now the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, it's great. I got two teams,
are in the
bro.
Super Bowl. Oh,
it's
that was
awesome, man.
weak.
Yeah, but they had to play each other last year. That was a tough one.
What? Whoever
I
won.
mean,
is
whoever
who you
won,
picked.
yeah.
just
I
went
mean,
for the winner, yeah.
And the game was close, so it was like the whole time I was like, "How is this going to end? Who am I going to root for?"
Did you have the Panther and then you could pull off for the?
Well,
anything
it's
underneath?
Superman. Here's the difference, though. I always say that even though New York is the biggest city in the United States and they have a lot of fans, those fans actually don't live and die by the sports results like the other cities because it's like, we're in New York, we're awesome anyway.
Yeah,
Like if
you're
your
right.
teams but when you
When you live in Georgia, we suck. The only thing we got going for
that's
us
it,
is
dude.
a good sports team.
Like I actually feel like living in Charlotte, if the football team is good, it actually helps the city. It has an actual impact.
I
It
agree
makes
with
the
that.
city you live in
100%.
better. New York, it has no impact whatsoever.
Nah, people are going to go there.
No. So
that's like New
that's
York's-
why I feel compelled to root for them, because it actually helps me personally because I live there.
New York's kind of like LA. No one's really from there.
Right.
No.
In
right.
terms of Manhattan,
Yeah.
anyway. I mean, people that are
Yeah.
born and raised in Jersey. And Boston, shout out to Eli over here. They are some hard.
Yeah,
They,
they're the
they
hardest
live
of the
and
hardcore.
die.
Whoa.
Absolutely.
They're the hardest of
Whoa.
the hardcore. Yes. So
Philly,
I give
they're
them
just
credit.
thugs. Awful.
Yeah, they
you
had
fans
the-
from Philly are
And I
terrible.
will tell you
Beat up
this:
Santa
they
Claus.
had their
They beat up that
three
old
or
man
four,
in the stadium
three
the
or
other
four
night.
decades of horrible teams. So they've earned the Patriots fans that stuck with them through all those decades of suck. They've earned that.
Something to be said for
Should
that
we
loyalty.
revert back to straight rhythm in some form?
Oh,
Just
the
to-
NFL talk is not what people are here for?
Just because of Racer X Live.
Not here for NFL talk, really?
We're not.
Ronnie Mack being here in person, I think is something that it's like this larger than life. Seeing him actually on the track last year, you had seen him so many times in videos, but it was this striking thing of like, wait, this is actually happening.
that scrub?
I'm seeing this for real now in person with
And
my
he's,
own two eyes.
and he's legit.
I think it's like jarring for people to be like, wait, now I'm actually seeing this for real.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
he's an
the,
actor
the
and he
best
rides.
part,
Cartoon come to life.
Yeah.
the best part about it is that
Here he comes.
essentially,
Doing it
Maybe.
again.
He's going after that.
Oh, God.
He's like, suck it, electric bike.
Oh,
you hear
my
that?
God.
It was a real electric bike versus Ronnie Mack grudge match right now, just
happening.
as you talked about 15 years from now.
15 years from now, this is happening right
Yes.
now.
But essentially, Ronnie Mack is the world's funniest troll, right?
Yeah.
So
He's
there's
awesome.
not many. So you got dudes that troll in boxing. There's no one that's going to troll in boxing and then go and
And
fight
box.
and
Back it up.
fight
Hell
like
no.
Anthony Joshua. And then so that's the best thing is you've got this superhero comic book character that is the world's most efficient and funny internet troll that can actually come out here and
back
whoop
it up.
ass.
Yeah.
Well, Conor
Boss,
McGregor
yeah.
was about as close as you got to that. He talked a little shit there. It was pretty good. But and we saw that the world wants it. We need that kind of shit.
But who is he calling out? Some of the sport's greatest of all time.
Some of the sport's greatest wives, which is even better.
and riders, yes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Here he
Private.
go. Oh no.
Oh, no, he's coming over here. What?
Oh,
God damn, I'm kind of scared. I've never been this close to the guy. What the hell is he doing? Donuts.
what an asshole!
I don't know.
They just kicked him out.
I actually got scared.
Does Ronnie Mack own the Pomona Fairplex?
He
Is
can
that
do
what this
anything he
is?
wants.
Yeah, that's.
Turn the lights on. I'm practicing.
Even the security people
Security.
said, no,
Let him go.
we're out.
Let him go.
It's like a dog when
He's
he starts
probably
humping.
packing. He's got
Boys,
a
it's
gun.
best just let him go once he starts.
Just
Gotta
let
ride
him
it
get
out.
someone your
Let him
leg.
finish.
He's probably packing.
Hey, have,
Packing
you,
some
have
what?
you guys talked
Some
about
lumber?
your
Oh,
prediction?
a
Oh,
gun?
he's packed. I mean,
No.
he definitely claims that. but
Let's get
Yeah.
to that as
Oh.
we work towards the end of this podcast, whatever this thing is.
Does it
This
have to
camera
end?
right by-
Why is
Does
it a
it have to end?
podcast? Who called it a podcast to
Yeah.
begin with?
video podcast. I don't know.
Because,
Jason Weigandt,
because
I-
radio was taken. DMXS. They own the radio game. You
There
know
you
what I
go.
mean?
I will put it on you. Ronnie Mack, where's he finish tomorrow? Two-stroke class. Go.
Third.
All right. Chad Reed wins. Where's Villapoto at?
Lock it in.
I think it's
Stamping
Ryan
it.
Morris and
Wait,
Chad Reed in
you
the
like
finals.
you like Chad Reed?
I'm saying
Do you have
he
something?
wins the lights class. He's not even going to ride the lights class.
I want to see that.
Still
bad.
wins it,
I
though.
want to see it.
Ride all three classes. He can ride all three, right?
Do
Can they?
it,
You're
Chad.
allowed to, yeah.
Where is Chad? I'm gonna text Jeremy. You boys keep talking. We need to get
Bring
Chad
him on.
here.
You're allowed to.
All right, who wins two-stroke tomorrow?
Stank.
You're Ryan Morris wins it.
Really?
Reckon? Did he look good? I mean,
looked
it's
good.
hard for us because we couldn't see.
Over Poto Reed.
I don't know.
Dude, he's probably been out there. Like, he literally is a test rider.
He rides
Probably
all
got the
the time.
most Sano setup as far as, like, actually
Sleater's got a
preparing.
300. He said he bolted on a 300. His 250.
Got bolt on.
Hey, you know what? I like that's a bold strategy.
This is awesome.
That's a
Strut
bold
power.
Yeah, he's just gonna go. What? You're gonna tell me I can't ride? And then everyone's just going, nah, you can ride.
You can do it.
What this goes back to what you said at the very beginning of the show. This is such a level playing field. You normally don't have Ryan Villapoto at a mechanical disadvantage.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Ryan
Ever.
Morris is literally
Exactly.
works for KTM, rides for KTM. KTM still makes new two-strokes. His bike is probably awesome. How often is Villapoto and Reed at a disadvantage?
Ever.
Reed
Exactly,
built the
yeah.
bike in his garage.
When he
He's
was
not
on
even a
80s,
mechanic.
maybe.
Yeah, when's
Maybe.
the last time Villapoto showed up on a bike that was 7 years older than somebody else?
Right.
Yeah, that was racing him.
Yeah, so this is...
So with that being
hard
said,
to say.
Stank Dog Sleater in the finals.
Okay, all right.
Wow, that's a bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, bold prediction, Cotton. All right, I want
Wow,
to
he
see
just
Ronnie
quintupled
do
that
really
thing.
well.
We just turn around, watch the video monitor.
Hey, let's be honest. The rear shock in that thing has to be shit, right? Like, can we just?
No, they said they've rebuilt.
That's still shit. Like,
yeah, comparatively.
You know what I
it
mean?
has to be.
But then, like, the stuff Villo's on probably isn't
That's
great.
handmade from
you know what
Mitch
I mean?
was just tuning that thing.
That the 98 CR 250R. Don't tell Ronnie Mac this. Luckily, I'm sure he doesn't have a computer, so he'll never watch this. But it's not the best bike.
I have a 99 CR250 in Australia.
Thing,
shit.
Yeah, not the best bike.
It's not good. It's not the move.
Really pipey.
But you know what? That just goes to show the pure. Do we just not give Ronnie Mac credit as an athlete?
No, you should. You
the guy is
absolutely
an
should.
athlete.
Really?
Whoever did his graphics, you need to give him some credit too. There's some great
Jason,
verbiage there.
as a pseudo journalist at this event, meaning that there are different storylines here. Would it be better for you to write the story on Monday morning? Ronnie Mac wins the two-stroke class.
Holy shit! The
one of these
world,
other guys?
the internet
Oh my
wins.
God.
I don't know. That's going to be a hard one to explain to people. That's going to be a hard one. It's just like I said, a cartoon came to life and then actually beat real humans.
It's one of the most accomplished Supercross riders in history.
You would like
if
to
he
see the
beats those
internet
guys.
break tomorrow night.
Yeah,
I think it breaks regardless. It breaks regardless because
it's
of
two
Ronnie.
strokes?
But yeah, 2 strokes and the 2-stroke class, the Ken Roxon 2-stroke invitational, is Colton. Do a 360.
Is that a 4-stroke?
Yeah, David and I are very upset. A 4-stroke just
He's
hit the course with the
literally
Colton
pisses
Hager.
you off. He was booing him.
Yeah.
was earlier.
Dude,
Sounds
the
like
guy.
crap.
Wasn't Colton just on a 2-stroke as well?
No, that's Brown.
No, that was
Oh,
Mike
that's
Brown.
Okay, I was gonna say double duty. Do it, son. But
Yeah.
the
I will not
2-stroke
boo
class-
I will not boo the electric bike because he could literally hear me.
No.
I totally heard you up there.
Oh, that was me.
But
Say it to my face.
The 2-stroke class is the move. That's what I like.
That's why this thing is killer. Like
Oh
this
my
is
God.
leveled up this
if we would
race.
have gotten McGrath, RC, possibly
They weren't far,
James,
as we
I
heard.
know.
They wanted
it was
to do
close. It was
Yeah.
for sure close.
Yeah.
So just some scheduling issues.
I say next year, who even cares about when the regular motocross, supercross schedule, work around their schedule.
I will say this flat out. I wish the politics of this were not involved, where the people, the fans could see what they came to see. The best riders that are available this week in the race. It would be epic.
I agree, man. The very first they did it, the very first time, I'm like, man, when you get all these guys in it, and we figured they'd all be coming.
Right,
They
eventually.
never really did. You're like, there's no running and hiding. They have to go head to head. Like,
Yeah.
what will happen when Tomac and Barcia race each other?
Yes.
Or all the, damn
I
it all,
can't-
do it.
I can't finish the show. I know we're probably wrapping up pretty soon. I cannot finish the show without expressing severe disappointment in a couple of dudes. Severe.
Okay, severe.
You want
I
to talk?
agree.
You want to talk about breaking the internet? If Adam Cincerello rocked up on a Spitfire Pro Circuit Kawasaki 125 and just lost one, just go in one thing, just go in the first bracket, you're gonna lose.
Whatever.
And just do whips and just throw
Rip
that
it.
little dinger around. Internet hero forever. Like
You
we're
can't
talking,
lose. You don't
cannot.
lose.
You will
No.
like you could never lose. Adam Cincerello, you blew it. You blew it. You had that bike. You just shot that premix video. I know you had a 125. You blew it.
Hey, James Stewart on a 259
Oh, he's coming on the
Kawasaki.
show later. He's coming on the show later.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's going to
We're
be our
gonna
last
wrap it
guest.
up.
Yeah, we're going to
Oh,
close
good.
it out.
And
with
Jason,
James, so.
you guys and Jeremy, we've all talked about the number of impressions, the internet, like what you get, the amount of eyeballs on this thing from the live broadcast to everybody here.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous.
Numbers don't lie. This is the exposure of this race is worth being here.
And it's just that. It's the little bit of internal politics that sort of goes on with different blah, blah, blah.
Call
But
it out
it's
for
the-
what it is. It is the sports politics that are there are a lot of different colors of rigs that are not in the pits. That's unfortunate.
Absolutely.
And here's the thing, like that we've seen one injury when Hampshire crashed.
That's
So
literally
guys,
it.
that's it.
That's it.
the injury, right?
Yeah,
so you're
one.
talking about you'll send your dudes to Monster Cup to rate. Like we saw a shit show at Monster Cup, and that wasn't. I'm not saying that's anybody's fault, but that's racing. It can happen. So if you're going to commit to going to that race, and you're going to be okay with your riders potentially getting hurt, your dudes can get hurt on a BMX bike walking the track. Like you cannot wrap these dudes up in cotton wool. What you can do, because we hear all this talk all the time of the sport's hurting, sponsors are leaving. We just saw RCH close doors. Like we're seeing the
I agree.
sport
Well, then come
literally
here and give your
shrink.
sponsor some love.
And then we see, and this is my other thing. And
And they are very inviting. Red Bull, they will roll the red carpet out for
anybody.
anybody.
Well, first of all, they
Anybody.
put the race in Southern California, which no other off-season event is doing. You either got to go
Backyard.
to Europe,
Backyard.
Paris, the nations, even Vegas. Like they're asking.
Well, we
one
spoke-
day, 6 minutes of riding.
Travis
in
did it in the back of a
California.
pickup truck.
Yeah, dude.
You don't have to have your full
And he
setup.
won the internet. He did a backflip, and that will
Hell yeah,
live
he
on
did.
for perpetuity.
Kevin and I were standing the first year. We were standing underneath that when he did it, and
Yeah.
our minds were still blown because that is how you build a legacy in this sport.
Yeah.
Ryan Villapoto, God bless him for the little bit of smack talk he did back to Ronnie Mack with this.
Awesome.
I'll just leave this here. That's more smack talk than he did his entire career.
It's true.
Brilliant.
It's good to see these people understand the new metrics.
They don't get it until they're done. Like
the metrics
when you're in the
of-
heat, when you're 23, 24,
Yes.
you're just like, oh, you're so into your
Racing.
deal.
Well,
you're
exactly.
blowing
Look
it.
at Chad. Look at RV. They've
They're
come
all-
out because they've realized that this is what
It's a
riding should be
win-win.
about.
You will win.
And we
if you
talked
don't win.
about this on the phone the other day. The thing, like, you look at golf, right? Corporate sponsorship up to Razoo.
Look at Guff.
What's
golf.
Guff?
Golf.
All right, golf.
Golf. Look at golf.
LF.
Look at golf.
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 Dolphin golf.
Any more brain busters? But you look at golf, right? And you've got corporate money up to Wazoo. Why? Because it's a really nice experience for your RBC heritage, roll out corporate sponsor dudes to go there and you walk. It's nice grass. It's a nice course. You've got nice hospitality. And then you look at that versus going to, say, Unadilla. You fly into Syracuse Airport. It's probably going to rain. It's going to be 1 billion degrees. There's no VIP areas. So what's the real value for your sponsors? Say you're courting some sponsors for the 2018 Supercross Series. Is this not a great place to come? You've got legit VIP. It's in LA. You know what I mean? So
You're
it's
one
like,
of 8 or 12 guys. You're not getting lost in 40 guys.
Yeah,
There's a handful of dudes here.
exactly. You
in
can
your
say
class.
you can say to the people who have never watched a motocross race before,
I can
"Hey,
show you a
it's
compressed
super,
version of what this is all about,
Exactly.
and you'll feel the energy in 40 seconds.
Yep, super basic.
If you don't get
best
it
of
sitting in
three,
those
yeah.
stands, watching those dudes come side by side, then you're not alive.
And you bring up a good point. I want to bring this up since I guess there's probably more than people. We have up to about 15, 20 people listen to our show.
We're up to about 20 now.
All right, so
It's pretty
there's
good.
probably more of that.
It's 25 or 26 when I looked. But
Motocross is the lifeblood of our sport.
Motocross.
And it
Say they
has,
are.
And it has. I was going to say because it has to be. We have to get back to the basics. I know Supercross, these off-season races and stuff, but motocross has got to still be the foundation of our sport, and we have to give as much attention, support, and spotlight on motocross as anything else. These off-season races are awesome, but people can't stop racing motocross. They can't allow riders to have that as less of a privilege. I can't stand it. I mean, this summer to me was a little bit of a disappointment. What about you, Kevin?
Yeah, I don't like seeing things dwindle and the numbers dwindle and championships decided way too early because guys and the Jeffrey Hurling stuff, like that kind of bummed me out when the championship's already kind of settled, so he's just kind of cruising and vice versa for Jeffrey. Like, I just don't think it meant anything. And Ricky even said it on our show. He goes, it just doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, Ricky Carmichael
He goes,
was
I don't
not-
like it. I don't
he
agree
was
with
blunt.
it.
I said, why, how come those guys come over here and smack us? He goes, I'll tell you why. Because for years in motocross, riders have done just what they needed to do to get by, and the Europeans have caught us. It's not like it was before. They'll do anything in the world to win for Supercross, but not for motocross. And that to me is just one of my axes to grind here. So I wanted to get that across.
What do you think?
We always make this phrase, but there's no one actually that backs up. We always say our sport, the sport. There is no our sport or the sport. There's just people with their pieces, and we don't have a.
We're not moving in
we're
the
not a
same direction
league.
together.
It's not a league. There isn't a commissioner.
there's no
isn't-
riders union.
There's no centralized thing. So all the ideas that everyone has are all based around this.
Other
What
sports.
are we going to do for our sport or the sport?
When
But
all
there
they're
is
doing
no-
is things for themselves, for their
yeah,
career.
there isn't a the sport. And I do always like to make this joke. If only there was a organization like that United American Motorcycle Riders, like an
Yeah.
association,
Like a
of
membership that
American-
looked out for your rights and
and
benefits.
like and they
They'd
would
have
be-
like a neat little acronym.
Yeah, 3
Yeah,
You
letters.
make a logo.
and you can
could
tie
be
it
a
all
thing.
together. You
Red
could have
and
like
blue.
Supercross
maybe.
championship, motocross, it all ties into one.
you could have like local riders be members, but also like the top line racing
Oh, now
be
you're-
involved.
now you're really
And,
getting
I
out of-
mean, if we had something like that, that's the closest we would come to it finally being the sport, our sport.
So you're saying an organization to
And
actually
then
I know, but I don't see
and
it
then
out there.
possibly send out a really shitty magazine every month.
throw that
Wait
in
a
the
minute
mix.
now.
Yes.
Come on.
So I'm just saying, I mean, I haven't got the card in my wallet right now, but that's the closest we have to that, but I don't see it manifesting itself that way. So I don't know. We always say our sport, the sport. It's not really, that's
Well,
not the
just
model
saying-
we have.
I'm just saying this. I hear people saying that motocross is disposable because Supercross is everything, and I'm telling them, this shut your whore mouth because it's not. It is. It's what,
No, it's not.
It's what our sport was based on. It's what everybody does on the weekends.
Well, a kid can't watch Supercross and then go and do Supercross.
No.
Like Adam Cincerello has famously said he went to Daytona Supercross, and then that's what started a dude that is now one of the best guys in the world. So if there's no motocross, to your point, where does Adam Cincerello go to get to be Adam Cincerello? You know what I mean? So that has to be the foundation. You can't just have Supercross. You can't have one thing. You've got to have that motocross.
And hey, these guys are actually addressing it. Like at Loretta's this year, they had a meeting of all the promoters, Tim Cotter, and all these people are getting together. They realize we're in big trouble.
Yeah, they're like, the event, Loretta's, we're good. Like, it's not
always
going anywhere.
It has its own
but
gravitational
the rest
pull.
of it, just straight up local and regional racing and all
horrible.
that is not.
Horrible.
How's that working out for your track?
Oh, it's fantastic. We shut down 4 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. That's
been
the
in
problem.
business since '75.
That's a huge problem. That's a huge problem. And I think now, okay, so that was 4 years ago. I think now you're seeing the trickle up effect, I guess.
Yeah.
Where now you're
good
hearing
point.
teams being like, man, we're not selling bikes like we used to. We're not selling this. We don't have the money.
Imagine that.
Well, because 4 years ago,
We had
nobody
tracks
rode
that
and
were
the track
open.
shut
They
down.
rode bikes and they bought bikes, bought parts, kept shops in business.
Not anymore.
And it all works
Yeah.
like that. It works
Yep.
from the ground up, not the other way around.
Right. Yep. So there's like a 4-year lag time where now you're hearing about all this. And before we used to just blame it on the economy, but guess what? A lot of that stuff's come way back. This is not.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I just checked. Trump just said the stock market is 50,000.
Oh, we're good. then.
50,000.
That was 23,000.
Don't argue. Don't argue.
It doubled today. So
Wow.
Don't argue them.
All
Yeah,
right,
I mean,
so
is the
we-
electric bike, is that the deal? Is that how plug it back into the inner city to where you can ride? You know what I'm saying?
Part of me thinks like I don't see like what could the massive course correction we would need to fix this. Well, that's a pretty massive course correction. Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
I want an Alta straight up. And I'm
I
gonna
don't blame
do
ya.
and I'm gonna do 2018 straight rhythm on an Alta. I'm gonna ride practice anyway.
there's only one answer. You guys just need to shut up for a second. There's one answer. This
Listen
riddle.
to him.
Okay.
Free Ronnie Mac.
Bring back two strokes every OEM.
Is that just the timing of it?
Making an affordable bike. A $10,000 dirt bike is ridiculous.
We all point at two strokes not being here as being. Is it just pure coincidence that the economy took a shit and the two stroke went away at the same time?
It was a nice perfect storm where we can't find all the evidence because the evidence all got clouded. Yeah, which was it? Was it the two strokes and the economy happened at the same time?
That's a race right there, and Ronnie Mac is.
Mike Brown's about to lay
Ronnie
some
with
wood.
the scrub.
Who got it though?
All right, boys, let's wrap this up. We got to get out of here.
Dead ass even, boys. That's the way to finish. How about
Yes,
that?
what a way to
No
finish up.
answers.
Mike Brown, the
And
only
Trump.
man who's actually more redneck than Ronnie Mac somehow. I don't know if that's possible.
That
So,
is true.
Weege, where can we watch this thing? If you're doing the live commentary,
Well,
you're doing
it's
the
on
thing,
our. This is RaceWreck's Facebook right now. We'll archive it
can
on our
we-
Facebook page.
No, where can we watch straight
Tomorrow.
rhythm tomorrow?
The show.
Yeah, I
There's
wanna
this
watch
thing
that.
called Red Bull TV.
Red
You
Bull
want to watch
TV.
it? You
I
want to
wanna
watch
watch
it?
it.
Okay.
I mean, I might
So
come
go
here,
to
but-
redbull.tv. This is 5:30 Pacific. Is when we're going to start. We'll have a pre-show.
All you
and
rednecks
we're
got to do
racing.
some math on the East Coast.
Yeah. So redbull.tv. That's also the Red Bull TV app. I'm cheap, but even I have an Apple TV, and it's right on there. It couldn't have been easier.
Who gave it to you?
Huh?
Yeah, you didn't pay for that
Who
shit.
gave it to you?
That's a hand-me-down. You got it off Craigslist.
Somebody did actually send me one because he got a better one.
Hey,
Yeah.
I
Knew
will
it. He ain't paid
handle
for
this.
shit
I'll
in
handle
his
this.
life.
Everybody talks about how cheap Jason Weigandt is. This is how we're going to end the show. He just recently moved into a new house. He found out that the movers pay by the pound.
He loves this.
He went and
And
stored
hid shit in the woods.
He would and hid shit in,
did.
and not even
Yeah.
his woods, just the
Random woods.
That I knew no one would steal my
Heavy
stuff from.
pots with dirt in them that cost
Yeah.
by the pound. He's like, I'm not paying
I'm
for
not
that.
paying
And
for you
then
to move a
came back
pot,
and got it
plant.
like a hillbilly.
Yeah.
In the woods and loads it up.
Okay, guys, that's pretty much.
And with
sums
that,
it.
we'll close on Jason Weigandt is cheap. And
We could have
so-
ended on
and
Ronnie
so-
Mac against Mike Brown, but instead we ended with
No.
that.
Jason Weigandt is cheap, and so is watching Red Bull Straight Rhythm
It's free,
tomorrow.
folks.
It's
Free.
free. It's so cheap, it's free.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us for this epic podcast. Some amazing bench racing has gone down. Some of the big names in the sport. And
So
I'm
again,
excited
who's
for
winning?
tomorrow.
Who's going to win? You tell everybody at home who's going to win. And
I don't even know.
take your emotions out of it.
No, Marv's winning the big
450
dogs
class.
because
250
he's
class?
built for this. I don't even know who's racing. I want Chad Reed to win that one, and I want Ronnie Mac to win the two strokes.
That's
is
awesome.
that
So
too-
Chad gets in there with a W in that one, then you get Ronnie Mac.
And then
with
I
his-
win him too. I win both.
I'm confused. What other class is Chad competing in that he's going to win?
He's
Oh,
running
Ronnie Mac
Lights.
wins lights?
Ronnie Mac
It's
wins
250
two
two-stroke.
stroke.
Chad
wins lights.
Is he racing lights?
He's riding the
on
open
two-stroke?
class.
I'm going to tell him he has
Chad's
to.
riding,
Oh, okay.
Chad's riding the open, or you're going to move him.
He's
Try-
going to
Yeah,
make it happen.
I'm just going to make
Oh,
it
okay.
happen. All right, boys. Thank you very much for joining us. This has been fun. Always a good time when I get to talk to you, bloody legends. So with that, we're out. Cheers.
Peace.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You did start to finish. Well done.
Oh, yeah.